Yo, guys, welcome back to the second episode of the Pack Boys Pod. We are so happy to have you here. We hope you enjoyed the first one. The second one's going to be even better for those that like NFL. We're going to be
Mhm.
covering some college recapping first. We're going to talk NFL predictions. We got bold predictions. We got playoff predictions, our Super Bowl predictions, award winners. I mean, you name it, we got it over here, man. We're really glad to have you guys. And if Trey has anything to add, I'll throw it to him. And it's just great to have you guys back for episode 2. Let's get it going, man.
No, yeah, I think the draft we did with the movie draft, I think we finally caught on to what the draft means and figuring out what picks we want to have and how they're personalized to us. I mean, I knew how high you were on a certain team coming into this, so I knew a lot of your picks were going to be slanted towards that. But I thought we had a lot of good segments. Take it personal was really interesting. I think a lot of people that watch this that are Steelers fans or Cowboys fans or hate either team will get a lot of insight on those teams from that segment. But now I'm ready. Let's get it going.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, week one, college football in the books. What a weekend it was. Started off on Thursday night with some exciting games. Friday was pretty good too. ODU with the upset. Didn't call the upset, but was pretty close with the prediction. Told you guys it'd be a close game. Saturday slate was just unbelievable, up and down. So many good games, upsets, close calls. Iowa was a real close call, and then last night FSU LSU was, I mean, one of the closest college football games I've ever seen. The last couple minutes of that game were unbelievable. We'll get into the betting records in a second from week one, but Hunter, I just want to throw it to you. I know you got some thoughts on some people and some teams
Um,
forward.
yeah, I got two that are more important than the rest. One, Pitt, they stink. Pitt stinks. Their secondary's bad.
Well,
Um, but West Virginia just stinks more. So I didn't cover because I didn't get the early spread like you did
yeah.
at 6.5. I ended up getting the 7.5, so I took the half point hammer to the head. But I'm glad that you ended up hitting ultimately. And this one is the one. And you and I disagree on it because I know we've talked about it. Cam Rising from Utah, you jackass. It is
Yeah.
second and goal, and you are forcing it into double coverage when you could have just taken a play. Just take it. You got two more downs, or you could kick it to tie.
I agree.
So
I
forcing it
agree.
to lose was terrible to
I
me.
agree, but one, I don't think it was the best play call. I think in situations like that, when you're tight to the goal line, you got to get your quarterback rolling. You got to get him and let him make that decision. If he doesn't see it while he's rolling, throw it out of bounds. It's a shorter
Yeah.
throw out of bounds, anyways. And second, it wasn't so much him fitting it in. Go back and watch the film. That tight end fell down. That tight end was supposed to turn
I
around,
get it.
come back to the goal line, and so when it was all about timing. But as soon as that guy breaks down, he released the ball. That guy fell down. The linebacker made a fantastic play. If you go back, that linebacker dove about 6 feet to his right to catch that ball. It was an unbelievable catch.
Oh, it was, no doubt about it. I
If
was
that
just pissed that it got thrown in the first
if
place.
that tight end is coming forward, it's a catch. Utah wins the game. It's one of those things where how can you blame the guy that got you to the dance? It's like blaming a guy
Fair.
for having a bad NCAA tournament game when he leads your teams in points, rebounds, and assists, and then you go to the tournament and he has one bad game and you guys lose. I mean, how are you really going to blame him? He got you there.
I agree. I mean, I shouldn't blame him, but when I miss out on a three-legger, guess what? He's getting it.
and
So I got to blame somebody, is the old saying, and he will be the one that I throw it
and then also with Pitt, I
at.
mean, fans just need to limit their expectations because this is not the same offense as it was last year, and it's not even about losing Pickett or Addison.
Yeah.
Signetti just has a completely different view of things than Whipple does. Signetti will run the ball down your throat. I think the first quarter they ran over 10 plays with like 8 linemen on the field. It was ridiculous. They were just trying to outpower, and that'll work against a couple teams. It will not work against every team. So
Um,
Signetti's got to find a better mix of passing to run.
I agree. One more thing about it that it told me that along with Georgia and Oregon, which was my lock of the week. Georgia minus 16 and a half against Oregon. There's just there's nothing that those teams are going to do to USC. The pack's over. It already is over for sure, which we kind of knew. I mean,
Yeah.
we kind of knew, but like all that did is confirm it to me. Utah can't beat them.
Yeah.
They probably keep it closer than Oregon. In
Oregon,
Oregon, I
Oregon,
mean, my
Oregon
God,
State looked good. If you're looking for a team in the North, Oregon State played Boise, and Boise's got a lot of issues right now. But what Oregon
they
State
did
came out
look
and
good.
played a good game. If people were up for that late game, that they played really well. So that
They
might be
did
a
look
team to
good.
look forward to make that. I mean, it's not a great Pac-12 North right now, so that could be a team to make a run there. All
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
have you vented enough that we can move on, or
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
I was gonna give an Ohio State praise, but I don't know if I deserve to. It'd be nobody from the
Oh,
offense, but
you
keep
can't
an
get
eye
praised.
out for keep an eye out for Michael Hall, interior D lineman, absolute force. He's a force.
You can't
He's the
praise
only person that disrupted the offense. So
you can't praise a team that doesn't cover. That's just a hard and fast
okay,
rule.
already, okay.
Okay, so we'll get into the betting records. I'll have a graphic up. We're not seeing it right now, but I finished 15 and 16 on the week. That's 48.3%. I still have Clemson first half minus 13 and a half tonight, so I have a chance to break even on the week. Hunter 5 and 10.
You
5 and
know,
10. That's 33%. 5 for
you
15.
take some, and you're gonna win some, you lose some. This week, I did get obliterated. Yes,
Yeah, yeah. Just a lot of questions looking at your picks. I mean, the Penn State Purdue under, yikes. What I mean, those are just two teams that I mean, Penn State has pretty good defense, but Purdue has a good offense and a terrible defense.
I just
Terrible
assumed
defense.
Big Ten culture, it would just be one of those boring, sloppy, field goal
You,
kicking, no one scoring games.
you had a miracle cover by Central Michigan that kept it to 5.
I
An
did. I
absolute
needed that.
miracle cover. Um, Houston, terrible pick against
Yeah.
UTSA was always going to be in that game. They probably should have won the game if people watch, but
Yeah. I
but
agree.
I mean I got to give you props for Georgia. Minus 16 and a half. I mean,
Where's
it wasn't
my
even a
where,
game. It
where's
wasn't
my
even a game.
where's my ECU boys?
Yeah.
They got to be in there,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, EC we'll get into that when we come up
Okay.
here, but I
Okay.
mean, but all in all, with the betting records, credit to us for two best bet winners. It was plus 256 on FanDuel. So if anyone rode with it, definitely got a nice payday. Looking at my board, had some heartbreakers, honestly. TCU killed Colorado on Friday night in the second half.
I
They
did
just
not anticipate that.
they're the clear better team. TCU just came out of the gate slow, which I mean, new coordinator, new head coach, couple new pieces. I guess I get it, but they showed in the second half that they should have covered 7.5 in the first half.
Yeah.
Uh, hand up, Colorado State, bad pick. If there's any other picks, I don't know if you're looking at the thing I sent you, but if there's any
I am
picks.
not.
Okay. Army money line. Army just got laughed at in the fourth quarter. They were terrible. And Army's one of those teams where if you bet their money line and they're down in the fourth, good luck. You
Yeah.
know, they're just
Pretty
not
much.
gonna.
Um, a
Go
game I
ahead.
wish I would touched. I mean, take an alternate over on North Carolina and Appalachian State, and just take the biggest alternate
Yeah,
over there is.
yeah.
Bet that's paying a
That
lot.
that was the last drive of that. I mean, well, first of all, the kid on North Carolina not having the instincts to fall down when they
Yep.
just could have iced the game. Terrible. That's bad coaching. I'll blame the kid a
Agree.
little bit, but I'll blame the coach. And you're a college athlete, you should know the basic, instincts of the game and just fall down there, ice the game.
Yep.
But also, I mean, North Carolina's defense switched cheese in the final 30 seconds of the game. I mean, right down the field. It was pathetic.
Yeah, I think
I coached.
they let up 2 touchdowns in less than like
Yeah,
30 seconds.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was
So
the last touchdown that they gave up. It wasn't even. It was pathetic.
yeah.
I coached junior high kids that know how to play better defense, and they played in the final 30 seconds. So, but look out for North Carolina overs throughout the year because if that's the way they're going to play, we're going to outscore you like Pitt did last year.
Yep.
and could
Just
be over
hammer the
City.
overs.
All right, let's move on to our next segment. It's a new segment called the airing of grievances.
Tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're gonna hear about it.
So we're gonna pick on a couple teams that we bet on that just didn't look good. So I'll let you start this new segment off, Hunter.
So North Carolina State,
Mhm.
you took them, I
Yeah.
believe, giving 11.5 to Carolina.
Yep.
At first I thought it was fried. I thought that you had that in the bag
Mhm.
when I was watching the game. I think it was, I don't know if it was 14-7, I think, at one
Mhm.
point, and then it may have even got to 21-7. I don't know. And I said, okay, this is done. Yeah, he called
Yeah.
this, and they did nothing else the rest of the game.
Yeah.
The one goal line stand where they should have scored, and East Carolina, I think, drove them back 20 yards on the play, just carried
Mhm.
the running back 20
Yeah.
yards down the field. I felt really good about East Carolina. I don't really have too much I can say to you about picking on your bets. You won a lot more than me. You're close to 50%. I'm sitting down here at 33, just trying to grab a dollar out of, the sky. So I don't have too many critiques for you. I have one more after that, but I'll let you go ahead because I'm sure you have quite a few for me.
Yeah, I was doing more on mine on my picks. My Vanderbilt's defense, you travel all the way across the country
Okay.
to Hawaii, and you give up, I think they give up 13 points, 17 points, it's definitely under 20. And then
Yeah.
you give up 31 to Elon at home.
Uh-huh.
31 to an FCS school at home. It was pathetic. They gave up 21 points in the second half that blew their 20. They were supposed the line was 20. They blew that. They gave up 21 points in the second half to an Elon team that's not really a good FCS team. I mean, they're average. You hear them every once in a while, but it was just a pathetic defensive performance, in all honesty. And then, yeah, I'll get into NC State. There were moments in that game against East Carolina where they looked really good. They were,
Yeah.
especially in the first half, they were moving the ball. Their defense was playing with energy. Their red zone offense is pathetic.
It is bad.
They fumbled the one, which is pretty much on one guy, and then the driver you were talking about. You're supposed to be, this is supposed to be your year. This is supposed to be the team, the North Carolina State team that is different. This is the team that's supposed to, make big noise in the ACC, and you can't punch it in from like 2 yards out on 4 tries against an ECU Group of 5 team. Not good. I
Not a
mean,
good look.
it's not making me feel good about my projections for them. They need to get that fixed or just become more creative. I mean, they have a great quarterback. Get more creative down there and try some different things.
Yeah.
Thursday night, Purdue's defense. Two things. The
I
last
knew this
drive,
was coming.
they had a pick six, which helped. I'll give them a little bit of credit, but the last drive, Clifford diced them up.
Yep.
At home, you have that crowd behind you. You can't let that happen if you want to be a legitimate team. And then
Uh-huh.
right before the half, they gave up like a 60 or 70-yard touchdown to a tight end where he broke 2 tackles and then wasn't heard from again.
Yeah.
So it just those two things killed me. Those two plays for Purdue were just heartbreakers. I knew at the end of the half, I said it's going to be tough for them to cover because there's just that play is such a backbreaker. But they were up front late. They should have won the game in all honesty. But Purdue's got to be better if I'm going to bet on them again. Hawaii's offense is my last one. The over, I believe I had it at was 56. Let me check real fast. 67, sorry, 67.5. Western Kentucky, Hawaii over. I believe it ended at 66 because Hawaii only scored 14.
Heartbreaker.
I believe Hawaii scored 17. It was 49-17 Western Kentucky, so it ended at 66. And I mean, just an absolute heartbreaker. Hawaii, you're at home against another team that's coming to play you, and you can't back-to-back weeks they can't put up 20 points.
Yeah.
Just sad. They need to get things fixed over there soon. Then you said you had one more for the
I
Aaron
got
grievances.
so two actually.
Mhm.
One I already touched on it, but Utah absolutely just devastated me. I
Mhm.
mean, I knew that there's a reason that the odds were what they were at 2.5 in Utah's favor. But man, I was expecting them to be, and this is shame on me and props to you, the Utah from last year. I thought they'd go in there and blow the doors off the Gators. Really, I was like, this is an easy pick. Gators stink. Well, first of all, I forget what they call what the name of the quarterback is for Florida, but they call it AR-15 in a post I saw. It must be like acronymed,
Yeah.
and his number. Dude, he looked real. I mean,
he is real.
he had moments where he looked real.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I said before when we were talking about that game, I think I was talking about my pick. I was picking Utah. I literally said the words, Anthony Richardson, their quarterback. He's a great player. I don't think it'll matter just because the team wasn't around him. He did matter. He led that team, and on every time they scored, it was his hands on the balls and him leading the drive. So yeah, Anthony Richardson was looking good.
There was the one play where he had two defenders on him and he pump fake spin moved and lost the dude, left him in the dust, and had the dude in the back corner of the end zone, butt naked, just sitting there, just caught the ball and didn't even move. He literally did not move a muscle, just stuck his hands up to catch the ball, and it was that easy. And I was like, man, that was unbelievable. And my next one, a little praising because I got to give myself some credit because I didn't get anything going my way this week on betting. My Georgia lock looked great. And I know I'm going to lead. This will be like a gateway for you to lead into. Stetson Bennett, man. I mean, dude, he's phenomenal. Yeah. He is phenomenal. They destroyed Oregon. Oregon sucks. I wish Oregon sucked like this last year when they played Ohio State week 1 and kicked our ass, but they didn't. So hopefully that's the Bo Nix effect, and hopefully they just continue to stink.
Yeah,
but Georgia looked great.
Being an Auburn fan, knowing like what Bo Nix is, the fact that he went up there and won that starting job is not a good sign for where Oregon's program is right now. They need to get some. I mean, obviously they have a new coach, but they need to get some recruiting done now if they want to be relevant in a few years.
I agree.
So, and yeah, that rolls perfectly into our next segment on me. This is where we're going to own up to at least one bad pick we had. Mine was Oregon. Listen, I didn't really think I gave out some reasoning with Dan Lanning being Oregon's head coach, and I had the projection that Oregon's defense wasn't going to be the same, and I don't think they are the same. I think Bo Nix made them look the same a lot of that game, but Oregon, when it was even with the Notre Dame game, was more of what I was projecting the game to be. It would be tight. Georgia wouldn't be able to pull away. Oregon wouldn't be able to score really, but they wouldn't. Georgia wouldn't be able to pull away either. Not what happened. Oregon, it's going to be a rough year if you got Bo Nix playing all 12 games. So
yeah, he did not look good at all, man. And I get it; it's Georgia, but we're talking about a team that just had 10 guys drafted. Yeah. I mean, they lost guys all over the place, and it looks like they didn't lose anybody. No, I mean, they came right out the gate firing on both sides of the ball again. Dude, the tight end, the dude that's like 6'7", like 280, he's hurdling safeties. I mean, ridiculous. It's unbelievable where they're finding these guys.
Yeah, and then I mean the play that sticks out for me in that game, which I knew it was dead, was I think they had like trips to the right, and Bo faked the bubble and then tried to rip it to the tight end and literally threw it to the strong safety that was standing flat-footed, like right on his chest. I'm like, this is a tier 5 team against a tier 1 team. This is not even close.
Yeah, they look like they belong in different leagues, which ultimately may end up happening. So
did you want to own up to a bad pick?
Yeah. Well, I got a few, but I'm just gonna pick one that I praised and said was a lock, and it was biased. Ohio State covering 16.5 against Notre Dame. It hurt. A lot of that pick was biased, but I truly did believe that Oregon with a new coach, though I do love Freeman. I like him a lot. The quarterback is very comfortable as a true freshman, and he's good. Like, I think he's going to be a good player. But Stroud came out and looked a little flat for a while. And it was a relatively quote unquote down game, which was still a solid game for him. But they did not cover the 16.5. Notre Dame plus 16.5 would have cashed you. And I thought that was, if I couldn't pick Georgia to cover against Oregon, I would have taken Ohio State as my second lock. So that one kind of stung, and I did bet it, and I did not win. So that's definitely my worst pick. I had a lot of them. I could keep going if you'd like, but I would rather
No.
not just embarrass myself.
No, I thought, Stroud didn't look good to start, and then when Njigba was hurt, I think his confidence maybe dipped a little bit towards the end of that, first half. But no, the defense really shocked me in the second half. That defensive line got after it. That
Dude, Michael Hall.
Front seven, I mean, if they can play that well, when they get into Penn State, Michigan State, and then even into the postseason, I think, don't count out Ohio State. Like that scoreline, people will be like, "Oh, is Ohio State real?" Yeah, they're freaking real. That offense is going to get better. That offense is not going to play like that throughout the year.
Yeah, I'm hoping the offense starts to click like it did last year. The offense was the strong suit of the team last year, and the defense was the weak spot. If the defense keeps this up and the offense can come around, I like the chances that they have. I think they at least get to the playoff, but time will tell. There's a lot of football left to be played.
One big takeaway. Did you want to start that off, Hunter?
My one big takeaway is Keaton Slovis is not better than JT Daniels, and West Virginia should have won that football game.
I think that's fair.
I think that so Bryce Ford Wheaton looked like Randy Moss.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he was going nuts. And then he has the play that ultimately loses them the game. If you take that out of there, that play, and then there's that 4th and 1 where they should have went for it and got gritty, and they didn't. If you put those two things together and just tweak that, they win that game in Hines or Acrisure, whatever you want to call it. And they spoil a lot of people's nights. JT Daniels on the 4th and long to convert, he put the ball in the most spot he could have. It's just a shame that the receiver didn't catch it because that was a beautiful ball. He couldn't have placed it any better. He did his job. I think the turnover, the interception that resulted in the pick six wasn't his fault. If I were a Pitt fan, I would be kind of nervous about Slovis to an extent. He looked like he got rattled a few times. His composure didn't seem to be there all the way. He is young. He's got time to grow. But JT Daniels is better than Keaton Slovis, and I don't know how close it really is.
Slovis at times just kind of looked like he wasn't in rhythm. I think with the offense, it's time. Like college quarterbacks nowadays, they're used to throwing it, probably 2 times every 3 downs now, or 1.5 times at least if you break it down over time. So I think them running the ball so much, it was hard for him to get in a rhythm. And then there was a lot of drops on the Panther side in the first half, so I think that kind of got him a little nervous too. Is he trusting his guys? So those 2 things were what I took away from his performance. My one big takeaway is that Stetson Bennett will be in New York City. He'll be a Heisman candidate. He'll be a Heisman finalist. I don't think he'll win the award, but he looked unbelievable on Saturday. He looked good enough. It's hard to project guys like him where they're smaller and, they don't have the traits that you want to see in the NFL. But it's hard to, if he plays like that this entire season, how is he not going to be taken by an NFL team?
I couldn't agree more. I think that he showed true leadership. He has poise, charisma. He gets his guys behind him. They all believe in him. Everyone on that team believes in that dude. He's accurate. He could throw you a 50-yard fade ball. He could hit you over the middle quick. He could do everything, and I think that he'll be there as well. I don't know if he will win it, but he will be there.
I took away from his performance. I would not mind if the Cowboys go ahead and if he's sitting there in like the 5th, 6th round in April, snatch him up. Snatch him up. He is the perfect. I think I don't know if he'll ever be a true franchise quarterback in the NFL, but he will be one of the better backups in the league just because how smart he is as a quarterback and how the team will rally around him. Those 2 things, I think he can be a career backup and be one of the best at it.
Absolutely. I thought he looked terrific, man. I couldn't have put it any better.
We will move on to our next segment, Take It Personal. We're going to start into our NFL deep dive right now. Take a personal news segment where I'm going to ask Hunter 3 questions about his Pittsburgh Steelers. He's going to return the favor with 3 questions about the Cowboys, and this should be interesting. So starting it off, first question, Hunter. TJ Watt, over under 20 sacks, and if so, what game does he hit it?
Okay, so I'm gonna say, oh man, this could piss people off. I'm gonna say under.
Okay.
And I think it's not going to be his fault. I'm not saying that I'm wishing this. I don't want him to get hurt, but I can see him missing games here or there, and it's just going to be really hard to emulate another 20 sack season. If he stays healthy, I do think he gets it, and I think he probably beats Strahan and technically his record. I think he would beat it by week 16, probably. I mean,
Wow.
he's unbelievable. The leg is what concerns me.
Yeah.
That's the only real concern I have about the guy is just health. Tough question, definitely, and I bet that anyone that's a Steelers fan that watches this probably is not going to enjoy what I just said. But just being an honest person, my question to you though, Trey, will Mike McCarthy last the season as the head coach?
I think it is Jerry Jones, if he's as smart as I think he can be, he has to set a hard, fast rule. If McCarthy fails to make the NFC Championship game, he's got to go. This team,
oh man,
Dak's timeline is running out. If we're honest, this is year 7 or 8. He's got to this is it. This is the window right now where you have to win. I mean, not every quarterback's going to be Tom Brady where they can play to their 45. This is their window to win right freaking now. He's got to at least get into the NFC Championship game. I think most Cowboys fans can live with that. If they're the top 2 teams in the NFC, I think they can live with not making a Super Bowl as long as they play well. They need to cut down on the penalties, and I think if cut down on the penalties, one, that'll help you move further in the playoffs. Jerry has to set that line where if you don't make it here, pack your bags. I don't even have to tell you you're fired. I think he's telling that before the season. NFC Championship, if you're not there, you're gone. And I got a list. I already got a list of coaches I want to take over. So trust me, if he fails to make it, I will be very happy.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's a little strong to hope for an NFC Championship, but as long as it's been, I understand. I mean, you'd have to something if you keep getting just so far and then falling. So
it's not even about the length of time from their last Super Bowl. It's just the past 2 to 3 years, besides the year Dak was hurt, we felt like this is a team. And we understand the stigma around the Cowboys. You know, you can hype them up all they want; they're still going to fail. We felt like they had a roster that could do it. They just needed the guidance to do it. And I think McCarthy on a lot of levels has failed. So I think there needs to be a hard set limit. This is where you got to get to. If it's not the NFC Championship, it's at least, 2 playoff wins or 1 playoff win or whatever. You have to move on from last year. You have to progress. Okay. Second question for you and the Steelers. It's a bit of a long one, so stay with me. I'm going to go through the receiving core. Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, Gunnar Olszewski, Pat Freiermuth. Okay, there's 5.
Okay.
We have 4 categories. Who leads in catches? Who leads in yards? Who leads in touchdowns? And who leads in drops?
Okay. Drops, Deontay. Catches, Deontay. Yards, I'm going to go Pickens.
Wow.
I think he's just got that deep little threat about him, and I don't think Deontay is going to get a hold of deep stuff because I don't know how much time the quarterbacks are going to have passing. The O-line is horrid. So I think it's going to be a lot of what we saw last year, dinking and dunking, and whoever gets open in the first second and a half, and that's going to be Deontay. He's the best route runner on the team. And then touchdowns, Pat Freiermuth will lead the team in touchdowns.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a number on that? You have a number of
10.
10.
I think 10.
Whew. That might be like a top. I mean, if he has a good bit of yards, that could be like a top 4 or 5 fantasy performance right there.
Yeah, I definitely think 10. I think he'll team in touchdown catches. Deontay, I think, is going to blow the doors off everybody as far as catches go. I think the next guy closest to him is going to miss him by 40 or 50 catches, probably.
No, I definitely think Deontay will lead in catches. I just was curious if you thought anyone else would lead in drops. Really, that's why.
No, I have to go Deontay just because he's getting the most targets. So it's kind of, unless we got a Lima Sweet on our hands, it's
Yeah.
kind of an inevitable thing here. My next question for you, to my knowledge, and if I'm wrong, you can tell me. The Cowboys have one quarterback on their roster still,
Yeah.
and that's just Dak Prescott.
Yes.
Will Dallas trade for Mason Rudolph, A, and B, what do you give up if you are acquiring him?
I don't think that they would trade because they're right. The way they're constructing the roster is with all the injuries that they have right now, they had to leave people off, and then they're going to move them back on once some people heal from injuries and get moved off of IR. And they'll probably end up cutting a couple people. But Cooper Rush, what I think is going to happen is it's going to be Dak and Cooper Rush will be on the roster, and Will Grier will be the practice squad quarterback, third quarterback. And now I wouldn't have any really interest in Mason Rudolph at this point. I think Will Grier is Mason Rudolph. I think they're basically the same player. And
Believe me, I think he
Greer's
sucks
younger.
too. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't. The only quarterback that maybe I would have interest in signing would have been Garoppolo, but even that, I mean, he wasn't going to take $6 million from another team.
Yeah.
So that would be the only one, and it was never going to happen anyway. Speaking of quarterbacks, Steelers have 3 of them right now. I guess the one to talk about is Kenny Pickett himself. When does Kenny Pickett take over, and what week?
So I've been so back and forth on this, actually. I remember I said 2 weeks ago, I'd like if he started week 1, and I just knew that that's not going to happen. Of course, would I like it? Yes. I think he looks better than all of the quarterbacks on the roster. That being said, Trubisky doesn't look bad. I don't think he played bad. He didn't do anything to lose his job. So I would say the only way he takes over, I'm going to assume, is going to have to do with an injury, which is very possible, but I'm going to predict that Trubisky will be hurt heading into the bye week. And coming out of the bye week, the Steelers, I think the bye week's week, I want to say 8 or 9. So they'll be like 3-4 or 3-5 is what I had them at when I went through their schedule. I cannot remember. And coming out of the bye week, they're going to throw in Kenny Pickett, and Trubisky will never see it again. So I think, right around week 9 to 10 is kind of where I have him right now coming in. And when he gets in, I don't think Trubisky has a shot to ever get it back. Hopefully by that time, Rudolph's floating down the river or something. That guy stinks. He could go I don't even care. He's just terrible. I mean, absolutely horrendous. So Rudolph should be traded for a bag of bread and an empty bag of chips. He's horrible. But yeah, I think week 9 or 10 is where we're looking, depending on which one of those two are the bye week. I don't know if it's week 8 or 9 or 7 or 8. I mean, one of them, it's in there, but I can't remember the schedule offhand. He will come in and start though, and Trubisky will never get it back.
I mean, I don't want to project injuries, but with that offensive line, I mean, it's not crazy to think that at least one of the guys is going to get some sort of injury at some point.
Exactly. My last question for you. I actually had 2 that I was bouncing back and forth between, and I may just throw both at you. But one is CeeDee Lamb going to break 1,400 yards and 100 catches this year? Not one or the other, but both.
No.
I disagree.
I think he'll go for just shy of 1,200.
Okay.
The way the Cowboys offense is set up is, and plus I think they have a great tight end room. So just with that too, I think they love to spread the ball out. They're going to be a lot of different moving pieces. They got Tony Pollard coming out of the backfield. Zeke's going to get his carries. Dalton Schultz, Peyton Hendershot are going to get their shots at tight end. Jake Ferguson's the other one, and I think they have some underrated guys on their that people haven't heard about yet. Dennis Houston comes to mind. The rookie Jalen Tolbert.
I love Tolbert.
I think they're going to have he'll be the number one, and he'll be the clear number one. If you're taking him in fantasy, take him. He's going to be Dak's number one. But there's the way Kellen Moore calls plays. He doesn't call it through one receiver. He'll call it through. Then that's how CD was able to have production when he wasn't the number one. They spread the ball out a lot, so I don't think he'll surpass 1,400 now.
And my second question, this is kind of cheating to the game we're playing here, but it's okay. Will Tony Pollard take over for Zeke as the lead back this year?
Absolutely not.
No.
He should. He won't. Because Jerry's going to call down to Mike McCarthy the second he tries to make a switch and is going to be yelling and saying, I'm paying this guy X amount of dollars this season. Get him off the field. Get Pollard off the field. Put Zeke back on. I don't care if he's hurt. I'm paying him. I want my money's worth. So that's where it's going to be at.
Well, I can't say I agree with Mr. Jones's thinking then, because I also think Pollard should take a lot. If he's not going to start, he better get more snaps, even than last year.
Yeah.
I saw an uptick last year for sure. He needs more. It needs to be close to 50-50 right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next we're going to jump into our 3 bold predictions for this NFL season. I'm going to pass this to Trey and allow him to give us his first one.
Yeah, I got a doozy of a first one. This one, people are going to look at me. They're going to have the little Dwayne Johnson, The Rock eyebrow raise. I can't do it, so I'm not going to replicate it. But Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions make the playoffs as the 7th seed in the NFC.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
I got a couple reasons. Jared Goff, by all reports, has never looked better, which I like a lot. I've just the quarterback alone. They have a good O-line. Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker. I think they have a great O-line group. Receiving core, once they get Jameson Williams, that'll be a great receiving core. DJ Chark, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, and TJ Hawkinson. He's going to have weapons.
Yeah.
And then you have all that. Good O-line, good receivers, good quarterback playing his best he's ever has. You still have 2 solid running backs. DeAndre Swift, I'd like to see more out of him this year and take that next step to become a top 10 running back.
Yeah.
And then you also have the reliable Jamal Williams behind him. This is going to be a good offense. So I really like this offense. And then just looking at their schedule, another reason I think they'll make it, it's not that hard. All NFL schedules are hard, but in terms of strength of schedule, they're 5th in the league, 5th easiest in the league. So I think this is a team people are sleeping on because they're the Lions. I think they have a good shot to make the playoffs. And I'll actually get into their schedule a little bit. They tell me that they can't start 4-1 with this. They have a week 6 bye. Philly, I think that's a loss. I just think Philly's going to come out of the gate looking good. But Washington, winnable game. Minnesota, winnable game. Seattle, winnable game. New England, winnable game. They can be 4-1 at the bye week, which would be huge for them.
That would be unbelievable if that happened. Absolutely it would. Because I love me some Dan Campbell, dude. Love him. I love his energy. He's just seems like an idiot. He's not an idiot, but he's crazy. He loves it. He thrives to be great. He pushes his guys. You see it on Hard Knocks. I know you watch it. He's an awesome coach. If I played, I would want to play for a guy like that. Someone who's ready to rip a throat out. I like guys like that. I do disagree. I think that they will stink. They will make improvements, but they will stink. My bold prediction, the first out of the 3, are I believe Justin Jefferson is going to win the Triple Crown. I think he's better than Cooper Kupp. I think he's better than Devontae Adams.
No.
I think he's better than Jamar Chase.
No.
This dude is unbelievable. Unreal. I'm thinking something of the nature, 125 catches, 1,800 yards, and probably 15 to 16 touchdowns. Dude, he's unreal. You can't guard him. If we didn't see Cooper Kupp have maybe one of the best seasons ever in football history last year, we'd be talking about Justin Jefferson as the best receiver in football. There's just no questions asked about it. But Kupp doing that with Stafford, who's known to do that with guys, and just really forced it to a guy and make that guy get the most out of you as you can. Stafford did the same thing with Megatron. I get Megatron's a little bit different than Cooper Kupp, but That's just his nature. He likes to find that guy and create that bond, and that's what he does. I think this year Jefferson, just solely off raw talent, because Kirk Cousins is mediocre. He's good enough to
he's below mediocre.
he's good enough to get it there. He's not good enough to get the team there. He's good enough to get a football there. He doesn't have that it factor. He's not going to go and win you a game in the fourth quarter. I believe Jefferson will win the Triple Crown.
I don't think Cousins is good enough to get him there. I think Jefferson will be fine. He'll be a top 10 receiver. I don't think he has a shot at the Triple Crown just because the way their offense is really set up. One, they're going to run the ball. Two, Thielen isn't what he used to be, so they're not going to care too. Like, defense are going to care, but they're not going to give him any special treatment.
Yeah.
It's all the defense every weekend. Every defense they face will be stop Jefferson, stop Dalvin Cook. He'll be the number one threat, absolutely.
Yeah.
But so defense will be oriented to stop him. I feel like if you look at the Rams last year, they had so many different, like they had Odell and Kupp and Higbee. Like, good luck trying to stop that. Higbee's a solid tight end. Don't get me wrong. Higbee's a top 10 tight end. He is.
Okay.
Give me 9 tight ends that are better than Tyler Higbee.
Oh, okay. Let's try this on the spot. Andrews.
Sure.
Kittle.
Sure.
Kelsey.
Sure.
Waller.
Sure.
Pitts.
Sure.
Freiermuth. Come on.
I'll give you that one.
Okay.
You're gonna start to struggle.
Dalton Schultz.
No.
Oh,
they're about
man.
the same. They're about the same to me.
Oh, man.
They might not be there in fantasy production, but in terms of overall player, they're about the same.
Oh, man. Really?
Yes.
You're not buying him.
I like Dalton Schultz, but like I said, I like Higbee. I like Dalton Schultz. They're the same. They're like
Dawson Knox.
Dawson Knox, sure. You got 2 more.
Gerald Everett.
No.
Even this year, and even this year with the Chargers.
No.
Hayden Hurst this year with Cincinnati.
No.
Oh, man. See, that's my fantasy sleeper. Well, there's my 10.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think you started off well.
Alberto.
Okay. Now we're throwing darts, huh? All right, we'll get into.
Want to jump into your next one?
Yeah, my next one is that Daniel Jones proves to the Giants organization that they don't need to draft a quarterback in 2023. Brian Daboll, new head coach, has a great track record. He was at Alabama. He was a quarterback coach with Jalen Hurts, Tua, Mac Jones. They're all in the NFL. They're all good to average NFL players now. And if you think and what he did with Josh Allen in Buffalo, he took Allen from this raw talent. Everyone knew, Allen was tall. He was a good athlete. He could throw the ball far. He took him from this guy who was playing, Mountain West football with Wyoming and do an MVP candidate now.
Yeah.
I think he can have there's going to be a learning curve with Daniel Jones and his new offense and the way Daboll does things, because Jason Garrett is a scumbag. We all know that. It's going to be a take and adjust from that to what Daboll likes to do. And plus the combination of Daniel Jones I think this is his 5th year in the NFL. This is it for him, really. The pressure's on a little bit. He knows if he doesn't perform, he's gone. They're not going to re-sign him. They're not going to sign him to an extension. He's gone. And it doesn't look that great when you get 5 years and you never had one winning season.
No,
it's not a
at
good
all.
look on the free agency market. So I think Daniel Jones, the Giants aren't going to make the playoffs or anything, but he's going to do well enough where the Giants are like, okay, we can fill some other needs in the draft.
I don't hate that one, actually, because he does have potential that you can see. He still somehow, and a lot of it is coaching, but his development was, cut short, I feel like, and not given fair opportunity due to what's been around him and what's been going on.
Hasn't he had 3? I think he's had 3 different head coaches since he's been there. So it's been a revolving door there. And I think some stability from Daboll is going to do wonders for him.
A follow-up question. I love Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
What do you think that means for him?
I think big year.
Big year?
I think he'll be Kenny Golladay to me just was so blah last year. I know he's on the Giants and whatnot, and their offense was terrible, but I think Tony's going to be the number one
I
eventually.
agree.
I think
Yeah,
he'll be the number one. I like Darius Slayton. Shout out Auburn. So I think he'll have weapons to do some work with. Like I said, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're still going to be the Giants, but I think I don't think it's crazy to say that they'll win 7-8 games.
absolutely. No, I mean, I could see that for sure. If it's okay with you, I'm going to jump into my
Yep.
second one here. I think Trey Lance will be a top 3 MVP candidate.
Okay.
I'm buying the hype train. A lot of people aren't. They're, skeptical. Maybe the Niners are skeptical. I mean, they brought back Jimmy G on this, whatever it is. They're keeping him. They're not trading him. They're telling him, like, we might have some packages for you, this and that, whatever the case is going to be. And I know Lance didn't like it, but I think that Lance is going to come out and just absolutely ball.
Mhm.
Louis Riddick said something of the sorts, and it was on ESPN, I want to say Get Up. And he said, Trey Lance is going to have a season we've never seen before, kind of like Pat Mahomes coming out season.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's going to be that extravagant. That could be a little wishful, seeing that I have him in 3 of my 5 fantasy leagues. But I do think that he's going to ball out. I think that he looks the part from what I can see from camp. He's clicking with all of his teammates. All his teammates love him. Kittle loves him. Debo loves him. Him and Ayuk even have a really good connection on deep balls, it looks like. He's fast. He's not scared to take off for 10 if he has to. He can hit you over the middle. He'll beat you deep. I think that with that team and the circumstances that they're putting with their defense and winning football games, I'm thinking they might be a 13-win team, and he's going
Yeah.
to get MVP.
No, I don't hate it. I'm looking at the team and I'm thinking, Debo is going to be solid. Kittle is going to be solid. And the run game is going to be solid with Shanahan. Can there be that third and fourth target that he has step up and be,
Yep.
a little more reliable? Cannot, Ayuk step up and be that true number 2? I think they have Jawan Jennings. I
Yeah,
think they have Danny Gray from SMU. Can those guys step up and be, a legit 3 and 4 receiver and play well down the stretch for him?
absolutely.
I think he has all the talent to do it. I think he's going to need a couple people to step up around him and
Yeah,
be there for him.
absolutely.
My last bold prediction is that the Las Vegas Raiders finish with the number 1 offense in football. It's not that bold if you look at the
I
skill
don't
there,
hate that.
but if you're a defense and you're trying to scheme up stopping Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller, that's scary enough. That's a good athlete at tight end, and that's a great route runner receiver. You throw in the best route runner in football, you throw in Josh McDaniels at head coach, who's worked with Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and similar receivers like Renfrow with Welker, Amendola, Edelman. He's worked with guys. He could make Renfrow even better than he was under Gruden. I think this offense is so scary with the skill positions. I think they need to shore up some things on the offensive line. Some young guys are going to have to play well for this to happen. But the skill positions. I mean, I even left out Josh Jacobs. I mean, this is a scary freaking team to go up against. Their defense is going to be solid. They should have the ball a good bit. I love the Raiders this year, and I think they're going to finish with the number 1 offense.
I don't hate that at all. I actually could see it as well. That wouldn't be my pick if I had to pick the number 1 offense, but they'd be top 5 for me without question. Adams and Renfrow. I made a bold prediction, not that I'm using on here. It's a different one. I'll say it at the end of this, but it has to do with Hunter Renfrow, actually. And I just think that there's a multitude of weapons. I think Waller's underrated still. People, I mean, it's Andrews, Kittle, and Kelsey in the top 3, and even Pitts gets lumped in there over Waller. I'm not sure 2 of those guys are better than Waller.
Yeah.
And whichever 2 you want to pluck in or out, it's up to you. But as far as route running and being a receiver, I'm not going to say he's better than Kelsey, but he's right below him, if not as the second best in my eyes. I think he's the second best route running tight end. So I really like that pick. That's a pretty good, bold prediction. It is still bold. I mean, who knows? You're preying on Carr. He's had ups and he's had downs.
Yeah,
so,
I think McDaniel's being his OC or his head coach, but probably going to be the primary play caller and working with Devontae, who he played with in college, is going to bring some stability and comfort for him that he's gonna be able to thrive.
Yeah, I definitely like that. So my last one, I don't know how bold it actually is. When I give the number, it gets a little bolder, and you'll see what I
Mhm.
mean. Romeo Dubes or Dobbs. I heard Rogers pronounce it Dobbs on the Pat McAfee show, so I'm not sure if it's Dubes or
Well,
Dobbs.
you're talking about a guy who's estranged from his family. I don't know if he's getting to know his teammates all that well.
Okay. So I believe that he will lead all receivers in receiving yards this year. And I think he's going to go for over 1,100 receiving yards as a rookie in the Packers offense.
Wow.
Yep. I think that the Watson pick or Watkins is Christian Watkins or Watson.
Watson. Yeah.
Good pick. I mean, guy could fly. I think he's going to be like a Corey Davis, though. Like he gets really hyped up,
Yep.
and then he's just going to be like a hey, I could pluck this guy in and throw him a 50-yard touchdown here or
Yeah.
there. Dubes is, I mean, he's been doubted his whole life. He was a 3-star, if I'm not mistaken, coming out of high
Mhm.
school. He got offers to Nevada and some small little schools. He goes to Nevada. His freshman year, he played as a true freshman. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Same with his sophomore year. Same with his junior year. And then his senior year, he really just came on. I think he had like 80 catches for 1,100 yards and
Yeah,
double-digit touchdowns.
he was
And
ridiculous.
that shows that this guy works. I mean, he's
Mhm.
working every day because he doesn't have the God-given gift that some guys do, like a Randy Moss, to just be 6'5" and fly down
Mhm.
the field. He's got to go and work for it. And his route running is exceptional. And Rodgers likes a guy like that, obviously. Example A, Devontae Adams. So and I just saw today that Alan Lazard sustained an injury. They don't know how
Mhm.
serious it is, but his week 1 status is in doubt. That's all it's going to take. I mean, give Rodgers just that much more time to start clicking with this guy. I'm telling you, he's the next best thing. You liked him when he was at Nevada.
I
You're the
did.
one who put me on to him.
Mhm.
And now I'm all over the hype train. So I think that he will have over 1,100 yards. I'm not going to guess on the touchdowns. I'm just not sure. But I think he'll have 1,100 yards and lead all rookie receivers in receiving yards.
No, I don't hate that. I think the Packers, especially with Lazard getting hurt today, I think they're going to have a lot of young receivers step up. They drafted Amari Rodgers, I think last year. They got Watson and Dubes in the building this year. They're going to have to step up. I mean, Randall Cobb cannot shoulder the load at his age, and
I love
Tanyan's.
Cobb.
I love Cobb too. I think he's going to be a red zone guy though.
Absolutely.
I don't think he can play 40 snaps a game and
No.
make it 17 games. So I think he's going to be more of a red zone guy. I like Bobby Tonyan. I think DeGora is the backup tight end. I think that they're solid, but
Yeah.
they're going to need guys to step up. And Watson's going to step right into the MVS role and just stretch the field
Why? Yep.
and have Dubes create stuff underneath. So
That's
I
why
don't.
I love Dubes so much.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that for Dubes at all.
Awesome. If it's okay with you, we can go ahead and jump into our next segment here. So we're going to be doing some NFL division breakdowns. We're going to start here in the NFC, and we're going to go right into the NFC East. Trey, would you like to kick it off for me?
Yeah, I think I'll give my predictions for how they're going to finish, and then I'll go into a little bit into each team. I have the Eagles winning the division. I have the Cowboys coming in second, followed by the Giants and the Commanders.
Okay.
For the Eagles, the offense, the pieces in that offense are fantastic. They just need Jalen Hurts to be great too. The depth is there on defense for a long playoff run, so I think the Eagles are solid. The only thing that worries me is they're a little bit older. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, they're a little bit older and some key players for them. So
Yeah.
injuries probably will happen at some season. So they'll need that depth to step up. Cowboys offensive line stinks. They're not good right now.
Hey.
Things are. I mean, thank God for Zach Martin, because if they didn't have him, it would be getting real scary for Dak Prescott right now. But I love the defense. Defense should be top 5. Micah Parsons is going to be, for everything I'm hearing, if they didn't blow the whistle early in practice, or if they didn't in practice in the NFL, when you're just trying to get a playoff, the defensive guy won't touch the quarterback, or he won't tackle the running back. the Cowboys offense wouldn't gain a yard because of Michael Parsons.
Yeah.
That's everything I'm hearing. He is so disruptive right now. He's playing so good. And you can't even hear about it because just the way that they practice. And he has barely played in the preseason too. So
Quick
go
Micah
ahead.
Parsons question. Do you prefer him as an edge rusher or pass coverage if you can only choose one?
I want him to line up against the worst offensive lineman.
It's
Wherever
not
that
a bad
is.
idea. Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Spot the weakness, put him in. Fill everyone else in wherever.
Yeah.
I would just have a package where pregame you
The
spot the
Parsons
worst
package, you could call
yes,
it PP.
and you identify the worst offensive lineman. If they sub in an offensive lineman, he goes right over that guy with the first snap.
Not a bad idea.
I would just put him on the worst offense. I mean, I do like him as an off-ball linebacker on first down,
Yeah.
just because he can fly sideline to sideline. But yeah, you get into second long, third and medium, third and long, he has to be an edge rusher. He has to double his edge rush snaps from last year. But I think they will because I think they have a little bit better linebacker core from last year. But a little bit more on the Cowboys. They need young receivers to step up. Jalen Tolbert, Dennis Houston, Cavante Turbin are all guys they brought in. Need them to step up for Dak because the offensive line's not going to. This offensive line, like I said before, it's not good. They're hurt. The players that do have in aren't good. Prediction for Zeke is he has another mediocre season, and he's going to complete the greatest contract robbery in the history of human existence. He robbed Jerry Jones blind, and we all saw what happened. He's a shell of what he was in his rookie year. He's a shell of what he was at Ohio State. He's not good. He's not a good running back. He's not a good player. He's probably not really that good of a teammate. So Zeke,
probably not the best spouse either.
I'm out, and my last one for the Cowboys falls right into that. Tony Pollard, he needs to play 20 to 25 snaps a game minimum.
Yep.
I'm talking minimum. He needs. I don't care if he lines up in the slot. I don't care if he lines up out wide. I don't care if he lines up in the backfield at freaking Wildcat quarterback. Get him involved. Put the ball in his hand. Moving on to the Giants. I think they'll be average 7-10 record, 8-9 record. Defense should be top 15 though. I like their defense a little bit. They're chippy. As long as the Giants are able to run the ball and keep their defense off the field enough, their defense should be solid as long as they're rested. Their pass rush, once Kayvon Thibodeau is healthy, him and Ojulari are two guys that are very highly touted, and they're going to need them to step up. But I like both of them. I think they'll have good years. And then, like I said, with my bold prediction, Daniel Jones is going to look much better this season than he has in past seasons. Commanders, Wentz is just awful. Wentz is a terrible quarterback. I don't get the anything about him. I get he had the 1 year where he was an MVP candidate. I think he is awful. I think he's going to be awful. I think he will be a one and done in Washington. They will not re-sign him. I think Sam Howell takes over before the season's over.
Wow. That's kind of bold.
I don't think so. I mean, the guy had if you go back and watch what he did with the Colts, he single-handedly tanked the Colts last season. The Colts were an awesome team, and he tanked them. He had so many terrible interceptions and turnovers. The defensive line for the Commanders, though, they're awesome. Daron Payne, Sweat is going to be back.
Yep.
Chase Young, he'll have to miss the first 4 games on the PUP list, and then Jonathan Allen. I mean, those four. I mean, good luck. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to think that the Commanders beat the Cowboys this year, even though I have them finishing last because the Cowboys' offensive line is so bad and the Commanders' defensive line is so good. And then lastly, I have a watch out guy, Cole Turner, who's a tight end who played on the Nevada team with Romeo Dubes. He's 6'6", 240, and ran a 4.5 40. He's an athletic freak. He's going to take some tutelage. They're going to have to teach him. He needs to become a better blocker in line. But I think he can be a red zone guy as maybe not this year, but next year. I think he'll be a solid player for them. So, yeah, that's my NFC East breakdown. I tried to go as fast as I could because I know you got some stuff to say.
So my NFC East is very comparable to yours. I have Philly at 1, Dallas at 2, but I have the Commanders at 3 and Giants at 4. So really we're flip-flopping which hand we want to put the horse crap in, and that's about it. So Eagles, with the additions that they made this offseason, and I loved I love their draft, man. Getting Jordan Davis to plug in there and learn from a Fletcher Cox is going to be lethal. They bring in A.J. Brown. So now Jalen Hurts, if you thought he was real, he's got weapons. They just signed Trey Sermon, Buckeye, who was a third-round pick who got cut by the Niners, and I thought he'd be the starter last year. I really did. I think there's still potential there. They bring him in case of Miles Sanders, who's been shaky with injuries, and as a running back. I like the team a lot. I think that they're going to be able to compete. I don't see them doing much as far as even winning they're going to win the division, but then once they get to playoffs, it's just see ya.
Yeah.
2, I have Dallas. I would not be shocked if Dallas won. That defense, man. I mean, I took them in fantasy in 4 of my 5 leagues I'm in, I think. So I love their defense. They were the number 1 defense in fantasy last year as far as the point system went. I know that doesn't mean you're the number 1 in like yards allowed or this or that, but I like the defense. And Parsons is, I'll get into that later, but man, that dude's something.
Yeah.
He's different. You ask me right now as a diehard Steeler fan, Parsons or Watt, it's not close. Watt's gone. It's not even close. Love them. I love CeeDee Lamb. I think out of the slot, he's going to feast. Absolutely. Just going to be a menace. If he cuts back on the drops, that was really his only issue. He had quite a few drops last year. Some that were his fault, some that weren't, but you got to cut those back and don't lose conversions on, those 3rd and 7s, the plays that matter. I think that they'll split with Philly this year. The Commanders, I have at 3, though. This is kind of where I disagree is a little bit. The reasons that you said actually are the reasons that I'm alluding to. You got De'Aaron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Sweat. Backing them guys up, you got Fedarian Mathis, who's no scrub. I mean, the dude can play. You got Kendall Fuller in the secondary. Now, William Jackson III is at safety. They have a comparable defense. Chase Young's coming back in 4 weeks after he's off the PUP list. And their O-line's got a lot better as well. You got Trey Turner at right guard, Norwell at left guard, Charles Leno Jr. at left tackle. Logan Thomas is kind of the shaky one for me as well. I just the potential's there because of the size. I don't really know anything else to say besides that for him. He's just been hurt. And when he was healthy, he put up okay numbers in the red zone. I love Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, and Terry McLaurin. I think that could be a little quick 3-headed monster. They could take the top off any defense at all. There's a lot of speed to work with there. Running back is shaky. Gibson might have lost the starting job if Brian Robinson wasn't in an unfortunate accident.
Yeah.
McKissick's going to steal downs from him for sure in the passing game. Gibson, from all accounts that I'm seeing and hearing, just looks relatively suspect and pedestrian. They don't think that he took a step last year. If anything, he regressed. And the biggest question mark of all is Carson Wentz. But I do think in this system, I think that he'll do enough just to squeak him out over the Giants. It'll be just like last year, though. He'll do something where he has a chance to be great and maybe do something unthought of, and he will fail. And the Giants at 4, look, I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a breakout year. That's the guy that I'm looking forward to seeing. I think, they bolstered the O-line, new play calling, new head coach, all these things. I trust Saquon, and I hope that he stays healthy because as a raw running back college prospect, I've never seen anybody better. I mean, he's the best I've ever seen as a prospect in my life. He tore Ohio State up when we played him. He was returning kicks. First kick of the game.
I remember
took
that
it
play.
96 yards to the house. And dude, it was like a man amongst boys, just the speed difference. He was faster than everybody. And I'm not buying the Giants defense. I even like the Daniel Jones thing you said earlier. I like their weapons they have for him. They got sneaky, decent weapons, Kadarius Toney's good. I think they got Wendell Robinson out of the draft this year, a very good, highly sought out guy. You got Golladay, which he kind of needs to have a resurgence. Last year was bad. And then I like Slayton, who could also take the top off any defense. I just don't trust their defense necessarily. So that is why it may take a year for them to get into the swing of things. I'm going to be leaning towards the Giants at 4, though.
Okay. I'll take it. I disagree with the defense. I think the Giants are going to have a pretty good defense. Not great, not enough to go out there and win them games every week, but good enough where, they'll keep them in games.
Hey guys, for all your guys' fencing needs, and this is going to apply to people in the like Washington County, Pennsylvania, or Pittsburgh area. I'm not sure all could be seeing this. If you guys need fencing put in by your house, you got a dog and you don't want it to get out or something, please call our friends over at Western PA Fencing. That's 412-618-8014. They are the best around. It's not close. I love these guys. They're great. They're great to do business with. They'll take care of Western PA Fencing. That's 412-618-8014. Okay, we will jump in next to the NFC North, if you will like to go, Trey.
Yeah, I think we already talked about young receivers stepping up for the Packers. I have them as my first team. That's going to be my biggest thing for the Packers. If they want to win that division, Rodgers is going to need. I mean, Rodgers will be great. We know that he's going to need receivers to make plays, get open, which I think they have the ability to. So that's really my thing. And then can young defensive players step up?
Yeah.
They brought in Quay Walker, who's going to start for them. They have the guy from Devontae Wyatt, who's going to mix in on that defensive line.
Yep.
They drafted Stokes a year ago. Can he? He had a really good rookie year. Can he repeat that? So, I think they're gonna need those guys to step up if they want to make a playoff run. And then I think they also, just looking at it, they have the best secondary in football. I mean, this secondary is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Jair, Adrian Amos, Darnell Savage, Rasul Douglas, and Stokes. I mean, scary.
Yeah, for sure.
You top that with Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary coming off the edge, making you hurry up. It's going to be tough, especially going into Lambeau, to try to get a win this year. I don't think it's crazy to think that they go perfect at home.
Yeah, no, not at all. I agree.
My second team in the North is going to be the Detroit Lions. Like I said before, I love their schedule. I don't think it's crazy that they start 4-1. After that first 5 games that we talked about, they play Jacksonville, who aren't going to be good. They go to the Jets, who aren't going to be good. They play Carolina, who's not going to be good. They play Chicago twice. They play the Giants. It's not crazy to think that this team can have a 10-win season.
Yeah.
So if they win the games that they're in, and when they play Green Bay, if they lose, fine. When they play Buffalo, if they lose, fine. But I love a large part of their schedule. I think this is a team that's they might not be ready yet, but I think the NFC is not particularly fantastic right now. So I don't think it's crazy that they can make that sort of leap right now. I got the Vikings in a third. You talked about Jefferson, but I don't think they're going anywhere with Kirk Cousins anytime soon. I was surprised they freaking cut Kellen Mond. I just learned that they cut Kellen Mond.
I was shocked to see that
they cut Kellen Mond and signed Nick Mullins from the Raiders. What a ridiculous move! I don't know how bad Mond was, and I didn't really follow the Vikings preseason. He must have been pretty bad to get cut as a third-round pick. Like was it last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
But he was good at Texas A&M. I thought he could have been better if he had some more coaching. So that was a crazy thing to me. Again, Vikings, I think they'll be an average record. They get Daniil Hunter back. He missed most of last year with an injury, so I think that'll help. But this is just an average team to me. Yeah. I don't think people have to worry about them. The Bears, the offensive and defensive line, and I'm excluding Cody Whitehair and Robert Quinn when I say this. So those two players are good to. I think Whitehair's average to good, and then Quinn's good to great. Their offensive line and defensive line are terrible. They're not good on either side of the ball. I think that's going to be their main downfall. On defense, Khalil Mack left. Roquan Smith obviously doesn't want to be there, and their secondary is young. But I also like it. Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson at corner, and Jaquan Brisker at strong safety. I think they're going to be given roles that, it's
they still have Eddie Jackson as well. Sorry to interrupt you. They still have Eddie Jackson at free safety, because if so, that's a really strong secondary.
I was just noting the younger guys.
Okay.
But those guys, if they can form a core and all be solid, that could be a good part of their rebuild there for the Bears. But yeah, I think the Bears are going to be bad.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, listen, Fields is good. Fields is a good quarterback. This is just bad.
Yeah.
It's a bad situation for him to try to succeed.
I don't blame you at all. So going into my NFC North, I'll be relatively quick. We got the Packers at 1. We got a bad man at quarterback. As far as the
Mhm.
talent goes, he's the best I've ever seen. I don't see him losing that division if he's alive and playing football in it, just at all. It does not matter what any of these other teams do. I got the Packers rolling. Also, side note, I think they may have sneaky. It's sneaky. A lot of people wouldn't pick it. They might have the best defense in football. Devondre Campbell was a monster last year. You got Gary and Smith off the edges, Kenny Clark inside. You put Quay Walker next to Devondre Campbell. I mean, the secondary, Jair's back from injury if he was hurt. I don't know if he returned late last season or if he's returning now. Rasul Douglas, who was up there and probably the top 5 in interceptions. Both the safeties and Amos and Savage are unbelievable. And then you got Stokes, just like you said. That might be the best defense in football. Next, I got Minnesota, actually. I don't like it, but I feel like history kind of has a tendency to repeat itself. Dalvin Cook, if he stays healthy, I'd argue he's a top 7 running back. Their O line is kind of what is suspect to me, but he's produced with mediocre offensive lines his whole career. You know what I think of Justin Jefferson, obviously. Thielen's there. They get Herb Smith back from injury, who missed all of last season, and apparently there's some high expectations on him that I'm not buying personally, but they're there. Kirk Cousins is good enough. He's the guy who will take you to the dance, but you're not actually going into the dance. You're just sitting over there drinking punch.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he is. So he might get you in a 7 seed if you're lucky, and you're getting bounced. That's it. Next, I have Detroit. I do think Detroit is going to be slightly – it will be close. I mean, that's going to be a race between Minnesota and Detroit. Love Dan Campbell. I love Goff. I think that Amon St. Brown is the real deal at receiver. He's their best receiver, in my opinion. I don't know how close it really is. Hawkinson is underrated, I feel. Also, another tight end I didn't name that's better, by the way, than Higbee. But
too little, too late.
Yeah, I see that. Anyways, but I'm liking what they're doing in Detroit, man. As much as I don't like Aiden Hutchinson, I think that he's going to transform the defense and the pass rush. I think that he just brings an energy. I mean, you saw it on Hard Knocks. Those dudes got hype when he was singing Billie Jean. Hype. Yeah. So those dudes are riding with him all the way, and they're buying into anything that dude's saying and doing. I feel like he might have like a TJ Watt type effect. I'm not saying he's going to be that player because I don't think he'll be as good as him, but he might have that effect. And last but not least, I have the Bears. And that one hurts me because I love Justin Fields. I think that he could be unbelievable. I love Darnell Mooney, who I also think is very good. But the running game is suspect. Montgomery, he's middle of the pack at best. O-line's terrible. I don't trust Cole Kmet. People are buying him. I'm not buying Cole Kmet at all. Not buying it. Maybe with Fields, we'll see if they got some chemistry going on there. I couldn't tell you their number 2 receiver. I don't really care to either. Defense, they got Roquan. I don't know if they still have Robert Quinn or not, but he's about 110. So I feel like he's been in the league since I've been wearing fucking pull-ups. I don't know, man. I'm not buying the Bears. I just don't think they have all the pieces in place, and that's what I'm going to leave it on. And if I'm wrong, is Matt Nagy still head coach?
No.
Okay,
it's,
thank God.
Eberflus, I think, he was with the Colts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah. No, I think the Bears, if they win 4 games, it'll be a good season.
I agree.
All right, now we're going to jump into the NFC South. Do you want to start this one, Hunter?
Yeah, I'll double up on them. So I got Bucks, Saints, Panthers, Falcons. Bucks, look, man, I'm not saying sports are fixed. I don't believe that at all. They're going to get the calls, though. They're going to get calls. It's Brady. Brady's going to get a call, and they just will. They're going to get calls. They got the most talent from their roster. And if you look at the quarterback play in the division, you got Baker or Darnold in Carolina. Whoopee. Yay. They stink. Saints, Jameis. I don't hate Jameis. I don't. But he can't see from the road to his car away. Like, it doesn't matter. His car could be on the road. He could be standing 2 feet next to it. Can't see it. I don't know if he had that laser eye surgery shit he did. Better of, because he cannot do what is needed to win that division. Their defense is real, though. New Orleans got a real defense. But the Bucks, man, their defense is real. Their secondary is real. Their linebacker play is unbelievable. Their front, I mean, Vita Vea, that guy's insane.
Yeah,
Dude's
ridiculous.
insane. Devin White, people said he had a down year last year. A down year for him is what he did. I'll take that over Devin Bush any day of the week, guys. So any day of the week. You got Brady. I know you don't have AB anymore, but Mike Evans is going for 8 straight seasons with 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Chris Godwin's coming back from his ACL tear. Time to, rehab that. You still got, they brought in Julio Jones. I know he's not the old Julio that we're used to seeing. I get it. He's 33 years old. And he's had some injuries, but he's never had a guy like Brady ever, not even close. And I heard that him and Brady were like this at training camp. They were locking in. And I know they lost Gronk, who was kind of that guy to get it done. But a Kyle Rudolph signing's not bad. And who's to say Gronk doesn't come back? Plus, you got Brait and Cade Auden. Is that his name? The dude they drafted?
From Washington, yep.
So you got Cade Auden, too. Playoff Lenny's real. Fournette's good. Everyone knows what Fournette is. You got Gio Bernard still to throw the ball to give Fournette a breather. I think that they got the division locked up. I think it's easy for them. They probably win the division by 2-3 wins. I'd say it's not going to matter come the last 2 games of the season. Let's put it that way. Saints at 2. I do, however, think the Saints are tough. They're the toughest competition. Their defense, they brought in the Honey Badger. They just gave up Gardner Johnson to Philadelphia for nothing. A 6th and a 7th, I think, is what they got. Was completely asinine to me. But I like their team. I like Cam Jordan. He's a great leader. Little arrogant too, which I like that. And, athletes, I like arrogance. I really love their team though. Michael Thomas and Olave, that's 2 Buckeyes that hits home. Michael Thomas is back. So I'm excited to see it. Kamara's probably not going to get suspended for knocking somebody's lights out in Vegas this year. It'll probably be next year. So you still have that on your side. They bring back Mark Ingram, a guy who loved playing there with Kamara, to back him up. And, the team looks solid. Tight end's the question mark, but who knows what they're going to do if Taysom Hill will be playing there, or if they're going to still have secret packages for him to be interpreted to the offense and thrown in there. I like the Saints, though. I think that they're going to be solid. Carolina at 3. Baker's going to win the job. McCaffrey, I don't know how much I trust him with injuries. I'm trying to see a full season of him because I love watching him play. He's electric. He's fun to watch. DJ Moore's really good. Robbie Anderson's kind of, I'm hoping to see a climb in Terrence Marshall this year. I would really like to see him kind of take that next step as a player. Tommy Tremble, I'm not buying that. Not buying old Tommy. The defense, Brian Burns and then Jeremy Chin, and the rest are kind of like, okay, what's going on here? So that's just how I feel about Carolina. Is they got a couple good players, but not enough to really do anything. I'd assume this is probably Roll's last year as head coach, especially if Pickett pans out and he had the chance to take him. I think it's going to hurt. Falcons, Mariota and Ritter. I think Mariota loses the job to Ritter at some point.
Yep.
But I don't think they're trying to win games right now either. They're trying to build still.
Yeah.
They got Drake London. They got Pitts. They brought in Algier, the running back, Ritter. Right there, those are 4 great guys in 2 years that you just brought in. So I think they're trying to build a little bit and see what they got. They got A.J. Terrell on defense, who's young and very good. I think they still have Grady Jarrett. They got Deion Jones. And they got several defensive pieces. But I just don't know that it's really going to do anything for them, especially if their heart's not in it. Like, they're without Ridley. And by the way, let me add, he's suspended for absolute horseshit.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
That's unbelievable.
So bad.
A whole season for that? What? And
Yeah.
What did he bet? $1,000. That's it.
I think it was 1,500 or something. Or
come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Got a worse punishment than Deshaun Watson.
It's unbelievable. So that in itself, I just don't think the Falcons are ready for that step to success. I think we're going to see promising things from Ritter, though. I think that he looks promising. I'm not going to say he's going to be great or anything like that. He looks promising, though.
Yep. I'll go with my 4: the Bucks, Saints, Panthers, and then the Falcons. I think Tom Brady is going to have an unbelievable year for being 45 years old. This little split he's having with Giselle or whatever. She went away or something. That's what he was dealing with over the past week or something when he
Did
missed.
that come out? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Apparently Giselle left and hasn't like returned any of his calls or whatnot. So I think he's about to go demon time and just light it up, especially to start the year. You look
Oh
at the
boy.
defensive side of the ball, Vita Vea and Akeem Hicks in the middle. Good luck trying to run the ball between the tackles. You got two monsters on either side of the football. And then Devin White and Levante David at middle linebacker. Unbelievable. Shaq Barrett and Joe Tryon off the edge. Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis at corner, two Auburn guys. Always shout out the Auburn guys. If the best defense in football isn't in Dallas or Green Bay, it's in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be great again. Brady's going to go off. I think Bucks are scary this year. For the Saints, I have they're a solid team. I think they're going to be a team that you don't like. You don't look forward to playing them this year, but I don't think they're anything too great. Jameis, is he going to be better with the LASIK surgery? He had a whole year to kind of learn and assimilate with the Saints organization, but again, I don't know if he'll be any better. Is Michael Thomas healthy? Is he going to be the guy he was? I don't know. And I was kind of lost in this Michael Thomas thing because I don't follow the Saints. I knew he was hurt. He had the ankle, and now he's dealing with a hamstring. But didn't he have he was holding out or something at some point?
I believe there was a holdout as well. Yes.
He's been I don't know his whole situation.
I don't think
I've
he's
been
played
really
a snap
lost.
of football since 2020.
Yeah, it's really crazy what he's been done. And then defense is another thing for them. Is their defense too old? They have Cam Jordan, who's 33. They have Demario Davis, who's 33, and they have Tyrann Mathieu, who's 30. So their three best defensive players are all 30 plus. It worries me. I know they have Marshawn Lattimore too, but I don't think that their defense is going to be able to stop the Bucks in their division. With the Panthers, it's going to be interesting to see that QB battle, not because they're good quarterbacks, but just because it's like two blind puppies trying to find their mother's milk. It's just what they're going to run all different ways and it's going to not be pretty, but it's going to be funny to watch. Can this young defense for the Panthers keep them in games? I think you mentioned some players already. Brian Burns, they got Derek Brown, my guy, shout out Auburn. And they got some good players in the secondary over there with who was the kid that they drafted out of South Carolina? J.C. Horn is the name.
2 years ago. Damn. I was thinking this year's draft, and I was off.
They have Yatir Gross-Matos. He was a raw guy coming out last year. I expect him to have a bigger year. Amari Barno, same thing. Amari Barno's a freak. He's 6'6" at defensive end. He's only 230 pounds, but so fast. I think it's a young defense. I think it's a good defense, but they just need to, click and find something that works for them. And then with the Falcons, I'm kind of on the same thing. Desmond Ridder, I think he's eventually going to take over before the season's over. They have pieces, the Falcons, Kyle Pitts, and a couple defensive pieces, AJ Terrell and whatnot, but they're not there yet. My question for the Falcons is, do they sell Grady Jarrett and Cordero Patterson at some point this year to try to get some draft picks, maybe at the trade deadline or something, where those two people to keep an eye out for?
Yeah.
So, but that was really my only thoughts on the Falcons. Ridder takes over. Do they sell, their couple good players because they are in a deep, deep rebuild right now?
Absolutely. I could not agree more. You want to jump into the NFC West, an interesting one. Go ahead.
NFC West, the front seven for them is very, very good, but they need to play so much. They need to play as the best front seven in football because their secondary has some huge question marks. And then also Trey Lance, I think they have a breakout season. I think he has a breakout season. I think the offense is, again, solid. I think they win the NFC West. I have the Rams in second, the Cardinals in third, and the Seahawks coming in last. The Rams, the addition of Allen Robinson is going to add a little interesting dynamic for them. I think he'll be able to assimilate right in there with that offense. I think he can be, the true. If you're going to play Cooper Kupp, did he play in the slot primarily, mostly last year? I'm guessing Cooper Kupp.
I would assume he probably took majority of snaps.
I think Allen Robinson steps right into that X position as a true outside guy, and I think he'll be good. My question for them is Joe Noteboom at left tackle taking over for Whitworth. That's a big responsibility. That's a big jump in talent he's going to have to take. And then they need to find a consistent run game. They ranked 25th last year in rushing yards. You can have Stafford. Stafford's getting to the point now where he's having arm issues. The elbow's been an issue in camp. They need to be able to run the ball. They have Akers. Get that O-line going downhill, create some play action for Robinson and Cup. So and my boy Higbee. Get those guys going.
Okay.
Higbee's my fantasy tight end, so that's why I'm
Fair.
hyping him up. Cardinals. Where's the pass rush? Where are they going to get pass rush production from? 34-year-old JJ Watt ain't going to get it done.
No.
The team has good players, but there's just no pass rush. So I think they are going to be third and be struggling to get that last playoff spot. This offense, and for this team to reach their potential, the offense is going to have to be top 3 in terms of production. They're going to have to just go off, and that's without Hopkins for the first 6 games. So it's going to be tough. Seahawks, first note is just bad. It's just bad.
They're just bad.
They're just bad. The O-line's horrible besides the rookie Charles Cross. Again, with the Seahawks, where's the pass rush coming from? Where's the pass rush? They look on their roster. Tell me who's going to get, even 8 sacks on that roster. Artie Burns is a starting cornerback for them. That just shows you where they're at. Artie Burns, the guy who I think the Steelers drafted 7 years ago. He's not good.
No, he's not.
And he's on all the posted depth charts. He's the starting corner. So the pass rush isn't there. The secondary isn't there. They're going to get torched.
He is not good.
I could see that Seahawks defense being the worst defense in football this year. But someone to watch out for is Tariq Woolen. He was one of my guys coming out of the draft that I loved. I wish the Cowboys would have taken. He's 6'4", 210 pounds at corner. Ran a 4.26 40. I think he'll eventually take over for Burns if he isn't week 1. I think he'll definitely start there at some point this season. But yeah, Seahawks terrible. Go ahead with your NFC West.
Oddly enough, I really thought we would have a disagreement here. I have the same exact thing as you. 49ers first, Rams second, Cardinals third, and the Seahawks fourth. Like I said earlier to you when I was talking about Trey Lance, I think the Niners might win 13 games, and I think that's going to be enough to seal them the division. Speaking of the Rams, I think Thursday night for opening kickoff, I think Buffalo heads into Los Angeles and puts a beat down on them. I think they beat them. I think they cover the spread, which we're going to have another episode to get in more to the odds of these things. But I like Buffalo to win that game and the defending Super Bowl champs to start off 0-1. Trey Lance, man, I'm just buying so much hype, and I've talked about it enough, so I'm not really going to get too much into their offense. But you got Fred Warner on defense, best inside backer in football in my eyes. Nick Bosa, he's probably top 5 in the voting favorites to win Defensive Player of the Year, I'd assume. I mean, he's a beast if he's healthy. It's the only concern anyone ever needs to have. And I love Shan as a coach. I think he's a genius. Rams at 2. It's still the defending champs. I mean, they still got Stafford, Cup, Cam Akers is healthy. The Darrell Henderson backing him up. Allen Robinson's been brought in. Your boy Higbee. They might bring back Odell. I mean, he's not signed yet. Yeah. Who knows what they could work out there. I'm sure he's not yet, but if they're making a push late down the line, they could bring in Odell. You got the best player in football on the defensive side in Aaron Donald. Probably the best corner still in my bond, the defense, and Jalen Ramsey. I still don't think it'll be enough, though. I just think that the Niners are just going to edge them out. Cardinals at 3. I like Kyler Murray a lot. I do think if we're paying quarterbacks this type of money, I think he deserved it. I mean, he's been solid. But what are they doing? I mean, what are we doing here? Huh? Like, there's nothing promising about the team. Why are we doing this? You're locking up a quarterback to go play with a bunch of scrubs.
Yeah.
Hopkins out for 6 weeks, which hopefully that gets appealed. I'd like to see that because he's entertaining, and he's still one of the best in the world when he's playing. I really have high expectations for Rondale Moore. Heard that they have a run package for him, kind of like they for Debo. So I'm interested in that because he can fly. He's fast. So that drew my attention, but their defense, I mean, you got Isaiah Simmons, who's really performed since coming into the NFL. He had such high expectations due to his size and his 40 time and how he looked when he was at Clemson. He's not what he was supposed to be, and I use supposed lightly. It's not his fault. These expectations were put upon him really, and they shouldn't have been. Ryan Murphy, they just had their other cornerback get third degree or second degree burns cooking in his kitchen.
Yeah.
He's going to miss maybe the whole year from getting second degree burns because the guy's trying to put fries in a deep fryer or something. I don't know. But like their safety plays really bad. JJ Watt's going on 400 years old and he's injury prone. You trade Chandler Jones to Vegas. It's just not a good combination. The offense isn't what I'm worried about. It's the defense and the coaching. And last, the Seahawks, I emphasize, they are ass. They stink.
Oh, they're terrible.
They're terrible. I mean, I don't know if Pete Carroll's tanking. If I'm assuming that's got to be the process here is tank and get one of these young guys coming out, Bryce, or I don't know how it'll play out. Stetson, if he looks good. Stroud, I don't know. It's got to be on his mind to be like, hey, let's suck a good pick here so we can get our guy for the future. But I don't know how much longer Carroll's got. I mean, he's pushing 80. I don't know how many more you're going to be coaching.
I'm so shocked that he stayed there after Russ and Wagner.
I know. Like
I figured the Seahawks would just be like, we're getting out with the old regime. You can go too.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's 76 years old. And like, I get it. He's a practice and he's running with them doing their back and forth running when they're running, doing the drills before, practice starts or whatnot, just jogging. And like, that's cool to see and stuff. But like, dude, at the end of the day, your quarterbacks are Drew Lock and Geno Smith. I mean, where do you expect to be?
No.
And I liked Lock when he came in. I thought like, okay, this could be something. I think time's told already. He's not anything. DK Metcalf will be on his way out. He just signed a deal. Mark my word, within a year's time, it won't be this season, but within a year's time, he's gone. He'll ask to be traded, and it'll be a trade similar to what A.J. Brown was.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot really back in return, but you're getting a great receiver, whoever that team is. And they're running. I love Kenneth Walker. I think he'll take over for Rashad Penny, but they don't have anything that really appeals to me. Jordan Brooks is their best defensive player, and if you're not watching football regularly and I say the name Jordan Brooks, you're going to say like, who the hell is that?
Yeah,
exactly. So that's saying a lot. And I think that they're going to finish 2-15, 3-14.
Yeah. I think they're in the running for the number one pick.
So we're going to jump into the AFC now. We're going to jump right to the AFC East. We're going same order as far as East, North, South, and West. So we're going to jump into the AFC East right here. I'm going to throw this one to you.
Yeah, in the East, I got the Bills, then the Dolphins, then the Pats, and then the Jets. I was torn between the Jets being third and the Patriots being fourth. I don't think the Patriots are going to be very good, but I'll start off with the division winners, the Bills. I think they'll walk away with this division. I think they'll win it by 3 or 4 games. The only really question mark about this team is, can that offense maintain what it was without Brian Daboll? Daboll had a lot of influence over that offense. Can they maintain it? I think they can. There's just too much talent. There's just too much talent on that team to not be a top 5, top 10 offense easily. Von Miller coming over brings a scary element to that pass rush. They got some young guys, Greg Rousseau, AJ
I love Greg Rousseau. Miami, stand up, baby.
Ed Oliver. They're going to have a pass rush. And then also Kaiir Elam was I believe their first or second round draft pick. He is a dark horse for D-Roy for me. He's going to step right into that Levi Wallace role on a team that has good pass rush. He could get some interceptions on tip passes, on bad throws. I think he's a dark horse for D-Roy. The Dolphins coming in second. McDaniel, Hill, and Waddle are going to resurrect to his career. I don't think he's going to be anything, I don't know if he'll ever be a top 10 quarterback, but he's not going to be a, one contract and done quarterback like it was looking that way for a while. I think McDaniel's coming over with his offense and Hill being able to stretch the field and Waddle being able to stretch the field, and Tua already have a connection with Waddle. I think the Dolphins' offense is going to be good and Tua is going to be good. Defense should be good. I like a lot of their pieces on defense. They brought in Melvin Ingram. They have Christian Wilkins, who's been solid there forever. Jalen Phillips last year from Miami, another Miami guy.
Yep.
They got your boy Jerome Baker.
Love Baker.
I knew you would say that. I threw that up for you. Xavier Howard and Byron Jones is hurt right now, but he'll be back. Those two at corner. They got my boy Noah. I always have trouble saying his name. Noah Igbenabany,
Yes.
and something like that. And he's a fantastic athlete. He'll be even better this year than he was last year as a rookie.
Yep.
Patriots. It's going to be a bad year. It's going to be tough for New England fans who are so used to good things. This is going to, I think they'll be float around. If they win 7 games, I think that'll be maxing out their potential this year.
Yep.
I think Jones is going to have a sophomore slump. There's a lack of wide receiver talent. The O-line will be good as always. They're not going to be great, but they'll be good. And the defense is going to be good, not great. The defense, I mean, one of their best defensive players is Devin McCourty, who's 35. I mean, what do you get? It's tough right now. I think they're really starting to hit that down. I think they've had a couple okay to not so okay drafts, and they're starting to feel that, the Brady departure even more right now.
Yeah.
But the Jets, I wrote down, they had a good draft. I don't know what to say about their team right now. I mean, you have Joe Flacco starting week 1. It's not 2008 anymore.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough. It is going to be a rough first half of the season for the Jets. Do not expect the Jets. I think they'll get on. I wrote down rough first half, better second half. I don't know if they'll be in contention for the number 1 pick. I think they'll be a little bit better, maybe around 5 wins, but it's going to be a rough start with Flacco at quarterback. It just is. And I believe their first 4 games are against the NFC or the AFC North.
Yeah.
And all those teams are solid. First 4. All those teams are solid. I think if you can find a way to bet them to go 0-4 to start the season or something like that, I would fade them off the first 4 weeks of the season. It's going to be bad.
So again, I mean, you're killing it in my book because I have nothing to disagree with again. Right here, I have Bills 1, Dolphins 2, Patriots 3, Jets 4. Buffalo, quarterback play matters in the NFL more than anything else. If you're just like dissecting one thing, it's coaching and then quarterback play. The Bills don't have the best coaching in the division, but by a landslide do they have the best quarterback, and it's not close.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to be putting all of my chips into that right there. Plus, I would argue they have the best receiver. I mean, you could argue Tyreek Hill. I think Diggs is better than Hill. I think the connection's so strong between the two of them. Their defense, bringing in Von Miller, Kaiir Elam, like you said, is a great pick. Tremaine, is it Tremaine? Yeah, Tremaine Edmonds at middle linebacker. I think underrated. I wish that's the Edmonds the Steelers got, but instead we're stuck with old Terrell, old buddy Terrell, who people just love to say, well, he ain't bad. Well, he ain't good either.
That's Deep's boy. Don't be talking about Deep's boy like that.
Yeah, and he'll tell you that he's done well and he's decent, and that's just not true.
He's better than Tyrann Mathieu if you ask Deep.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, we'll just leave the Bills to do their thing. Plus, I love James Cook pick. I think that's his name, right? Dalvin's brother.
Yeah.
He's going to step in. Singletary's getting bumped eventually. I don't know when it's coming, but that job is James Cook's. Just whenever he's able to take it is the question. Dolphins at 2. I love this Dolphins team. It's all this is going to come down to this year. Tua. It's Tua. We're going to see how good this guy is. And I agree with you. If he sucks this year, it's not like they're going to be like, okay, this guy's got to go. I don't think they're doing that.
Yeah.
But if he's very, very good, he can determine their success. If he's very, very bad, he will determine their fall. It's going to all come down to him. You got the weapons now. You got Gesicki at tight end. You got Waddle, Tyreek Hill. You brought in Cedric Wilson. You got running backs. You got Chase Edmonds, who's going to be the number 1. Mostert at 2. Miles Gaskins, I think, is 3, who was your starter last year. So he's your third stringer. Now he was starting last year. They brought in, was it Armstead at left tackle? Did they bring in Teron Armstead? They brought in a left tackle.
From the Saints.
Yeah. So they brought in a left tackle and paid him a ton of money. So they bolstered line on a side with, both tackles matter with edge rushers. And that's just great that they did that. And the defense is coming around. I mean, slowly, but you got Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, 2 lockup corners. They're not top 10, but they're both serviceable. I mean, you could argue Xavier might be top 10. Jones, not so much anymore. But like their defense is really good. They got the pieces there. Let's just see if they can put it all together. I want to see this new coach with Tua and see how it works. Patriots at 3. I love Mac Jones. I think he's one of the smartest players already in the NFL, but he's throwing the ball to absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
He's got no one to throw the ball to. Belichick thinks he could get away with just continuously not paying guys and bringing in a Kendrick Bourne, grabbing a Devontae Parker that hasn't been good but 5 games in his career. And when he was good, he was exceptionally, but we're talking 5 games. You don't have Edelman anymore. You got no Brady, and it's just going to be hard to recover from that. It's going to take time. Like, it's not going to come overnight. The defense is still solid, but it showed that defense does not win you as many games anymore as it used to.
Yeah.
Like, they lost to Buffalo last year, I believe, in the playoffs, and their defense played great. Did not matter. Did not matter. They got destroyed. So I got them at 3rd, and I almost put them at 4th, to be honest. I expected down year as well. But, the Jets are the Jets.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is there to say? Mark Sanchez, butt fumbling. The Jets just have the worst luck.
Like
ever.
I said, I think they had a good draft, but there's no other redeeming qualities to this roster right now.
Yeah, I think they had a great draft. I mean, you grab Garrett Wilson, shout out Ohio State as always. But like their team is just they're getting pieces together. I love the Breece Hall pick, but they're not starting him right away, and I guess he's developing slow.
The big 4, Wilson, Sauce, Breece Hall, and Jermaine Johnson. I think those could be 4 players we look down the road in 4 years. You know, they're coming to the end of their rookie contracts. They're like 4 of the top end players at their position.
Yeah, and they're all going to be asking for a lot of money. So, I mean, it works well. I want to see Wilson take a step forward. If he really elevates and stays healthy, I know he had that scare at camp. If he really stays healthy, I mean, the potential's there.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen enough of it yet. I want to see what he can do. He's got a big arm. I mean, he can launch the ball. He can throw it far as all hell. But can he hit a receiver far as all hell in coverage? Who knows? I just want to see what they can do. I'm excited for Wilson and Breece Hall. Michael Carter starting right now will eventually take that role over, I'd assume. But I got the Jets at 4 as well. It's the Jets, man. They suck.
No, yeah, it's going to be rough for the Jets again. I mean, it's hard to predict anything else with track record and how young they are as a team. We're gonna jump in and do the AFC North. It's probably gonna be a pretty quick one. I have the Bengals, the Ravens, the Steelers, and then the Browns. I was the only tough one for me with this one was picking between the Steelers and the Ravens 2 and 3. I think one of them is going to be a playoff team. One of them is going to be just outside the playoffs. Bengals for me, just keep taking advantage of Burrow being on his rookie deal. He's so good. They're able to put pieces around him. They brought in some pieces on the offensive line, Lyle Collins and Ted Karras. Their offensive line is going to be better. It's not going to be, top 5 in the league, but they'll be good enough in front of him to let him do what he needs to do. They need pass rush depth. They drafted some young players. They drafted Joseph Osai from Texas. He needs to become that 3rd pass rusher behind Hendrickson and Hubbard. If he can step up, I think that defense takes the next step. Their secondary concerns me a little, but I think they'll be. I mean, they made it to the secondary. They made it to the Super Bowl with that secondary, so
absolutely
they should be all right. If Lamar doesn't get his contract before the season starts, he is going to have an MVP caliber season. He is going to go. He's going to see red and just go for everything. Get that just to make sure he gets that contract. Players do it all the time. He's going to zone in, and he's going to have a great year if he doesn't get that contract signed, so that's something to watch. Odefi Owe, he is going to have a breakout season. I'm talking like 15 sacks breakout. He's going against the Steelers. He's going against the Steelers offensive line that's not very good twice. A Browns offensive line that's good. Maybe their tackles, I'm not sure. But it depends on where he lines up with Jedrick Wills. And then the Bengals offensive line, I think if he lines up against Lyle Collins with his speed, he can have some success. So I think he has a breakout year, 14, 15 sacks. And then I was looking at their lineup. Justin Houston's like 35 years old, and they have him listed as a starter. Yikes. That could hurt them in the long run. 35 years old, I mean, I don't know how you play. I mean, if you're playing kicker, quarterback, you know, uh, maybe like a straight safety like Devin McCourty, I can understand it, but playing in the trenches at 35 years old is not going to go very well.
Yeah.
Steelers, I think they're better than a lot of people are giving them credit for. I know people around here are high on them. I looked up and down the roster. I think it's a good team. I think no matter who plays a quarterback, I think it'll be a good team. Trubisky showed me some stuff in the preseason. Their offensive line will likely prevent them from making a run to the playoffs. I think I think whoever plays quarterback, it's like what's that Eminem lyric? Like an F you for Christmas, your gift is a curse. Like winning that quarterback job was what they battled for all camp. Great,
Yep.
get to the starting quarterback. You're gonna get murdered every week. You're gonna get crushed. You're gonna get crumbled. You're gonna get planted in the ground. That offensive line is yikes. But the defense is gonna be awesome. That defense, I think that defense can be a top 5 defense as well.
Should be for the amount of money that's on it.
Hayward, Watt. I think the secondary is Witherspoon gonna be the number 1 corner now that
Yes,
Caden's gone?
Akello.
Yeah. I think he's solid. Minka in the back end. It's just, if they want to win, that defense is going to have an all-time year. And then lastly, I'm trying to wrap up my time here. Watson's suspension is going to hurt. It's going to hurt the Browns. I think it's 11 games. It's going to, Brissett's a good quarterback. He's not going to be good enough to take them where they need to go to make the playoffs. Defense is good, not great. They got some pieces. I mean, obviously, Garrett's there. They have some good corners, but as a whole, I don't really love it. Jadeveon Clowney's past his prime, but they still have the run game. Nick Chubb and Hunt's still there, right? They didn't get rid of Hunt yet.
Not yet. Oh,
So I like their run game. It's not going to matter much. They'll come in 4th. They'll draft some pieces around Watson in the future. So, well, I guess maybe not. They trade away all their draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, so you and I are actually differing this time. I have Ravens at 1, taking the division. Bengals at 2, Steelers at 3, Browns at 4. Ravens, one of the reasons you alluded is I don't think Lamar is going to get paid. I don't know what he's asking for, but he doesn't have an agent. Yeah. So his agent is his mom, and that's just terrible way to do business, in my opinion. Like, love my dad. He's not going to be my agent if I'm talking $255 million. I'm going to go get an agent that knows what they're doing, that does that professionally for a living. And so who knows what type of deal he's asking for? Is he asking for a guaranteed deal like Watson got? Probably, I'd guess. So I don't think they're going to get it done before the season starts, and I do think he's going to ball out and go earn his money. I think that their run attack with Dobbins coming back this year, it's going to be a lot to handle. They got Dobbins, Mike Davis, and Gus Edwards all there. Rashad Bateman's going to have to take a step up. They just lost Hollywood Brown in the offseason to Arizona. So Bateman's going to really have to show up. Mark Andrews, we know what we're getting in that guy, top 3 or 4 tight end, however you want to slice the pie there. That's where he's fallen in. Defense is always good. They got Kyle Hamilton in the draft. Adofi, whatever his name is that you just said, is very good. I can't pronounce his name, but he's very good. Thank you. He's very, very good. I don't know if I see 15 sacks, but I would not be surprised if I did. Like, it wouldn't shock me. Patrick Queen needs to have resurgence year because his first year was great. Last year, he kind of dipped off a little. So if he could come back and pick up that play again, it's really going to help, anchor that defense down as their field general. And corners, Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. I mean, I know Peters is kind of like you'll understand this, Trayvon Diggs. He'll get fried, but he'll have interceptions and 3 go to the house. So he's not terrible. He can do what he needs to do, but Marlon Humphrey is the guy there. Next, Steelers. Steelers defense is going to win them, I'm going to say 8 games. I think it's the first year in the Tomlin era they go under 500. I don't trust Trubisky. Even if Pickett comes in, I don't trust them to get the games done. They got a relatively hard schedule. I think that they're going to win 8 games, go 8-9, and be under 500 for the first time in Tomlin's coaching tenure. The offense, I just don't trust too much. Najee, I like. The offensive line will hold them back, though. They will lose games because of that. And then Cleveland is, I mean, the Browns is the Browns. What can I say?
Mhm.
Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. That's a boy saying, but really it applies to
Yeah.
Cleveland more than anybody. Anytime anything seems to be good, we're going to get Watson. Oh, well, he's suspended 11 games and you just gave
Yeah.
him guaranteed money. Like, oh, Kareem didn't get paid. He wants out. Nick Chubb. Oh, my God. Nick Chubb is phenomenal. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Run him 40 times a game. You're going to know what's coming. I'm making Jacoby Brissett beat me if I'm a coach.
Yeah.
Let Brissett and Amari Cooper go out there and beat me and then Joe could see it.
Yeah.
And the defense is, I mean, you got Myles Garrett. It's an okay defense. You got Myles Garrett. Owosu Koromoa, I really love. I wanted the Steelers to get him. They took him 2 picks before the Steelers picked, and I won't forget it. I wanted him so bad. Clowney's getting old. Denzel Ward, shout out Ohio State. He was really good. I like Denzel Ward. But, I mean, on the other side, I couldn't tell you who the other corner is. I have no idea.
Is it Greg Newsome?
Maybe, yeah, Newsome. Where'd he come from? LSU?
Northwestern.
Okay, that's nice. Safeties, don't know who we're talking about there. But, yeah, I just don't think Cleveland's going to do much. I'm thinking, like, if they're lucky, 6-11.
Yeah, they're going to need Watson to play. I mean, you think 11 games Watson's missing? If they win 6, if they win 5 or 6,
if they win
those
5 or
games.
6, I think they got it without him.
Yeah,
I think they got a shot to maybe win 10 and fight in for a wild card spot. Then I don't see them do it though.
No, but I would say if you're a Browns fan, that's what you're hoping for.
Absolutely.
Out of Brissett. All right, so now we're going to move on to the AFC South. Should be an interesting, at least the top 2 divisions in this one, or the top 2 teams in this division, I should say. Douglas, if you want to take this one over to start.
Yeah. So I got Indianapolis first, Jaguars second, Titans third, Texans fourth. I really love Indianapolis. I thought that they were strong last year, but Wentz held them back. I don't know if Matt Ryan's a guy that can get you there, but I do know that he's a guy that isn't going to not, like, he's not going to be the one that's killing you to get there. I trust Matt Ryan a lot. I think that move was really good. I like the drafting of Alec Pierce. Paris Campbell, I think, is going to really come onto himself this year. Shout out Ohio State. Michael Pittman is going to have a monster year for sure. Jonathan Taylor, best back in football, probably. I don't know if there's much of a debate on it, at least. At least he was last year. The defense is really good. Darius Leonard or Shaquille Leonard, whatever you want to call him, whatever he changed his name to. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's so smart. He was slept on. I think he might have went to East Carolina, actually.
He went to, I believe, South Carolina State.
South Carolina State? Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was with Carolina somewhere in there. But he's awesome to watch, and I love watching him. I love Kenny Moore a lot. I think that he's an awesome corner, so I'm excited to see them play this year. Their O-line's super, super good, too. I mean, Quentin Nelson, that's a grown man. That is a grown-ass man. So I'm super excited to watch him, and it's not that I'm, like, in love with them. It's just the lack of skill in that division. It's just I don't like that division. I think it's the worst in football, arguably. So Jaguars at second. I think Trevor Lawrence with Doug Peterson and Etienne coming back is going to be
Georgia Tech just missed a field goal. I'm sweating out my bet for anyone wondering why I'm looking up right now. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that Trevor Lawrence and Etienne they've already clicked like this when they were at Clemson, but Doug Peterson's coaching in there with those 2 guys, I think is really going to matter a lot. They're going to make great strides this year. I'm thinking they're going to win 8 games, maybe 9 games. They're going to squeak in to that second spot in the division. I think that the Titans are going to have a down year. I think it's Henry against the world there. Henry's a beast. His health is kind of deteriorating from getting the ball 35 times a game. Tannehill has never been good in my eyes, even when he's had like good years. It's Ryan Tannehill. Like, come on, man. He's not that good. I think at some point this year, Malik Willis will take over.
Wow.
He just looks promising. So if they start to lose a few games, I could see them just saying, let's see what we got in this kid. Let's go for it. And if we lose, we tank and get a good pick. Like, it's not a situation for them to be in. I think they will finish third. I think they're only going to win 6 or 7 games. And the Texans are horrible. They will be competing with the worst teams in the league, aka Seattle, for probably the first pick of the draft again. I like Davis Mills, good young quarterback. He's okay. You know, he's not top 20 still. He's just not a top 20 quarterback. Brandon Cooks isn't that guy anymore. He doesn't have the speed he used to have, but I think he's going to have a good year with Mills. They just signed OJ Howard, I believe. So there's another weapon for Davis Mills. The O-line, you got Tunsil doing bong rips and not giving a damn because he got paid. He does not care what happens.
Oh, no.
He says, this is how I make my money, and I'm going to go smoke weed later. Defense is pretty terrible also. I just don't really see the Texans having a whole lot, man. I think that they're going to win maybe 3 or 4 games if they're lucky. But that's how I have the AFC South wrapping up.
Yeah, we're a little different. I think I have flopped middle teams. I have the Colts winning, the Titans in second, the Jags in third, and the Texans in fourth. This Colts team should be one of the most well-balanced teams in football. They have the defense. They have the run game, obviously, but I think Matt Ryan is going to be the key to unlocking the pass game. He's not going to turn the ball over. That's the most important thing that he brings that Wentz did. He's not going to turn the ball over. He'll make smart decisions. He's a veteran. He doesn't have the receiving core he did when he was in his prime in Atlanta, but there's good enough weapons there. The defense is underrated. Kwity Paye, I think, is going to, as another edge rusher who's going to have a breakout year, maybe 9-10 sacks. Kenny Moore, you talked about, and Yannick Ngakoue are pieces that, if they have big years, this team can go pretty far. Also, with the Colts, one of the best tight end rooms. Mo Alley Cox, Kylan Granson from SMU he's a smaller body tight end, but he's very, very good at receiving. And also, I got him in our fantasy league, in our keeper fantasy league or our dynasty fantasy league. Jelani Woods is a freak.
I wanted Jelani Woods as well.
6'7", like 260, and runs like a freaking antelope. The dude is just he's if he played basketball, he'd probably I don't know if he's good at basketball, but you just put his body, like, he's basically Zion. He's a thinner Zion playing tight end. I mean, so he's something to watch, and I think if he gets into the fold more and more as the season goes on, that team's gonna. I think the Colts win this division by at least 2 games.
I would agree.
Like you said, Titans. Henry getting older, getting hit a lot. It's gonna start adding up. Tannehill's gonna have to shoulder more of the load. You're gonna have to throw more, and it's gonna come down to Treylon Burks and Robert Woods. Can they become? I don't think either of them are number 1 receivers. But can they both combine to be a number 1 receiver? Can they both combine to have the production of a number 1 and eventually let Treylon work himself into becoming a number 1? And then they just lost Harold Landry, who's probably their best pass rusher, to an ACL. It's going to hurt, but Ola Adeniyi's a guy who can step in and be, sufficient. He's not going to be, he probably won't be a double-digit sack guy. He probably won't even get 8, but he'll be enough to help the defense at least. The Jaguars, they're a team on the rise, but they're not there. Their offensive line's not good. Their pass rush should be good. Josh Allen, they got the number 1 pick. They got the guy they wanted in Travon Walker. I believe they have the guy from LSU, Caleb Chase on. Their pass rush should be fine, but the biggest improvement for this team is losing scumbag Urban Meyer. Shout out Ohio State.
Okay. All right.
The if anyone hasn't seen the clip of Rich Eisen going in on Urban Meyer, it's perfect. He talks about it was when the news broke that Urban Meyer didn't know who 99 on the Rams was, and he just goes in on them, and it's perfect. I think the Jaguars will do better under Doug Peterson, but it is what it is for right now in terms of their roster talent. And then the Texans, Lovie Smith seems like a great guy, good football mind. Was he the right choice? You had the two in my mind for that job were Rich Bisaccia, who finished up taking the Raiders on a miracle run to the playoffs. You had Byron Leftwich in Tampa Bay, who I thought should have got a job this offseason. I think those two people would have been better hires than Lovie Smith, but it is what it is. Davis Mills, can he improve without John Mechie on the field? He's not going to have a good receiving core. Can he take a step up with his own game and be better? Is going to be a huge question for this this team. And then the defense. The defense is terrible. If you know who like more than 5 people on this defense are, you're a hardo. You're you're the guy you're the guy who doesn't watch any other sport besides football, and so
I mean, they're on the Odyssey app, probably listening to podcasts of the Texans, like a Texans only podcast. Yeah,
Derek Stingley is a great corner, but that's like the one name that stuck out when I looked at their defensive depth chart. That defense should probably give up about 20 some points a game. Or 20, high 20s, like 28, 29 points a game. It's going to be rough.
I couldn't agree more, man. I think that they're going to be terrible as well. I am rooting for Davis Mills, though. I want him to succeed.
Although if they do get the number 1 pick,
so bad.
If they get the number 1 pick and Mills plays good enough, Clemson just scored. Thank you. They're as long as they make their extra point, they're covering the first half. Although it would be great if they miss it. That would be a great reaction to get live. If they get the number 1 pick, Will Anderson, I mean, that's a guy that franchise desperately needs right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, they need a lot more than him. As good as he is, you better get 6 of him quickly. Yeah. And now the one that I'm the most excited for, and I'm so glad that you did it this way. Mm-hmm. We're going to go to the AFC West, and I want you to kick it off.
Yeah, gladly. The Chargers are my number 1 seed coming out of the West.
Let's fucking go, baby. Come on, Trey.
I think it's hard to find a hole on their roster besides maybe middle linebacker or nose tackle. The rest of the roster is solid. Yeah. My one note for the Chargers is that they need to be better against the run. They were the 3rd worst team against the run, allowing 4.6 yards a carry last year. Fix that up. This team has a chance to, be an elite team in this league. And can role players, I have Asante Samuel, Jerry Tillery, and Joshua Palmer, can they take leaps just with their own abilities to help out with this team? Because this team can be great. They're just going to need those role players to step up. Second, the Las Vegas Raiders. I got the Raiders coming in over the Chiefs. Like I said before, I love this offense. Love this offense.
Let me interrupt real quick. I have to say, you are fucking killing it.
I love this offense. The pass rush, bringing in Chandler Jones with Max Crosby, this pass rush is going to be unbelievable. They got some issues on the back end that they got to figure out, and people need to step up and play better football on the back end. But defense should be good enough to win, and with their offense is how good it's going to be. They should be able to win a lot of games. 2 names that stuck out to me that came over as free agents, or maybe one was a trade. Rock Ya-Sin and Jayon Brown. These guys need to be impact players right away for the Raiders. Rock Ya-Sin is definitely going to start at corner. Jayon Brown will be a rotational piece at linebacker. They need to step up and play better, and they can help this team do great things if they can. The Chiefs in the 3 spot. Tyreek Hill loss is going to be bigger than people expected. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he needs to become a top 10 running back. This team is going to flip styles, I guarantee it. With Juju Smith-Schuster being a great blocker, MVS being a big body as the 2 receivers they brought in, they're going to flip to more run-heavy team. Clyde Edwards, and behind the good offensive line, they had Creed Humphrey was a Pro Bowler last year. They're going to flip this style, and they're going to be more of a run team, run more play action, run, play action, deep bomb with Mahomes. O-line and the front seven are both very, very good. But can that secondary, losing Tyrann Mathieu, can that secondary be good enough to hang in with the offenses in this division? I don't know. I think that's their downfall. Wrapping it up, I got the Broncos in last. Russ, is he the same guy that won a Super Bowl? Is he that guy? I don't know. I don't think so, but he'll have to prove it to me. The defense has pieces on it, but can't, again, with the same thing I had with the Chiefs secondary. They have the pieces, but can they hang in with the firepower in this division? This division, there are some scary offensive pieces all across the board. What is this receiving core? What is Cortland Sutton? What is Jerry Jeudy? What is KJ Hamler? What is Alberto? They have a guy now. They have no more excuses.
None.
They can't say Drew Lock effed up. It's time. Lastly, I think Javonte Williams ends up a top 5 rusher in the league this year. I know that people are worried about a split there in carries. Javonte Williams is the guy. Melvin Gordon
sure.
is he's Gramps. Javonte's the guy right now. Gordon will be there. Javonte needs to come out and get a breather, get a sip of water. He got a Charlie horse or something, but Javonte is going to be the guy. He's going to be a bell cow for them. Hopefully they realize that sooner rather than later. It'll help them in the long run, but still, I don't see the Broncos breaking 7 wins this year.
Dude, I gotta say, you stunned me. We have that one identical. I got Chargers 1, Raiders 2, Chiefs 3. May I throw this in there? We're going to get into our playoffs in a little, but may I throw this in there? I have Kansas City missing the playoffs.
I do as well.
I think that it's a down year for them, and they got figured out. All the other teams got significantly better, and they got significantly worse. That's just how I view that. And 4, I also have Denver, and that's no slouch to them because they may win 2, 3, 4 other divisions if they're in it.
Yeah.
That's just how good this one is. But let me start with the Chargers, man. Justin Herbert, we'll be getting into him a little bit later as well. I will take him over Burrow any day of the week. I know that's a big thing. People like that. I've debated that with you, and you like Burrow and Herbert, but you said you would take Burrow, and I get it. I can't fault you. That's like picking a diamond or a whole stack of gold. There's no wrong answer there. Eckler, if he stays healthy, is real, but they just brought in Sony Michel when he got cut from Miami, and they drafted Isaiah Spiller, so they got backups. If he goes down, it's no man up.
Yeah.
Eckler was the backup to Melvin Gordon, if you remember. No one knew who this guy was, and then just boom, here comes the next one. Keenan Allen, top 6 or 7 route runner in the game. He just got to stay healthy. I know he's had ACL tears previously. Mike Williams with Herbert really coming on. Herbert just had an interview the other day, and they said, who's a fantasy sleeper you should be looking for on your team if, we're not talking Keenan Allen, Eckler, or Mike Williams? And he said, Josh Palmer. He said, this dude is insane. He's freakishly athletic. He's fast, and he'll go up and get it. He said he's going to have a big year and get a lot of targets. So if he's – I know you have to say those things, but if that turns to be anything close to true, dude, that offense with Gerald Everett and Parham in a 2 tight end set, I mean, you got monstrous guys everywhere.
Clemson
you got Slater at left tackle as well, who's a monster. So – defensively, though, you're bringing in a guy like J.C. Jackson from New England. I don't know if he's fringe top 5 corner for sure. Asante Samuel Jr. has got better and better and better every game he's played in. Nazir Adderley and Derwin James at safeties. Derwin, I said this to Noah when he got paid. I said, it's crazy. I know he deserves the money, but I feel like he's done nothing to get it. That's the best way I could put it. I haven't seen him play at all, but I know he deserves it still. Drew Tranquil and Kenneth Murray, inside backers. Yeah, they're okay, but if that's the worst hole you have, really, like, come on. Kenneth Murray was a top pick in the draft, 3 years ago? So, like, he still has time. He's still young. You got Bosa on side and Mack coming off the other. Good luck. Sebastian Joseph Day signed with them from the Rams. He was a beast next to Donald. The team is just so strong top to bottom, and I really am in love with it a lot. I will be getting into that more later with a couple of picks. Raiders at 2. Derek Carr, I've liked. I love the addition of Chandler Jones and Adams. Those are big, big moves. McDaniel's coming in too. I mean, dude, everything's just shaping up well for Vegas. Plus, it's Vegas. If you go anywhere and you're going to Vegas, you're betting. It's the bet capital of the world. I mean, it's an attraction, and you got a good football team now. Like, no Gruden there, no racist remarks and all this crap.
Jeez.
Like, you got McDaniels there, just he's strictly football, a Belichick system guy, and I think he's going to really flourish in that with that team. Carr, Adams, Waller, Renfro, and Jacobs, that could be the best tandem if Carr could really get it together as far as an offense goes. I like their defense as well. That's going to be the shaky part of the team, I think. Offense will produce every week. Kansas City at 3, I agree with you 1,000%. Losing Tyreek Hill is going to hurt so bad. Travis Kelce is going to get his no matter what. But everyone's just going to double him. You're going to have a backer and safety help, or if he's out in the slot or something or out wide, you're going to have a corner and a safety help. He's getting doubles probably nonstop. Edwards-Helaire, I think, sucks. I think he's kind of a bust. Isaiah Pacheco, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Thank you. He is – watch for him. I think that job's his. I just don't know when. That job, he's coming for it. I heard he looks great in camp. But I don't trust any receivers. Juju, nah, I'm not buying Juju. Not. I've seen him. He's never been good as like number 1. He could be a number 2, but who's the number 1 if he's a number 2? Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore, maybe, but not yet.
Yeah.
And Hardman, which I anticipate will have the best season out of their receivers, is McCall. He knows the system the best and he's the fastest.
Yeah.
I just don't buy the team. Nick Bolton's a really solid middle linebacker. I like him. He's growing and getting very good. But Chris Jones is okay. They lost the Honey Badger and got Justin Reed. I would take the Honey Badger Reed personally. I know Reed's younger, but I think the Badger's better. So I just think they got worse as a whole. And Denver, I'm not buying Denver, man. I love Javonte Williams. I think he could be a top 5 back as well. Russ, I think Russ is kind of he's heading back down the steps now.
Yep.
He's not climbing them no more.
Nope.
So I don't know what I think about Judy. We're going to find out. But if I'm not mistaken, didn't something just happen when he was in national headlines for something?
Check.
I'm not too sure. I feel like he was in the headlines for something. You lose Tim Patrick to a torn ACL, which hurts because he's a red zone target that was very good last year. Albert O is going to have to show up and especially in the run game, he's going to have to block very well. But I think Cortland Sutton's the receiver for fantasy formats. Cortland Sutton's the guy you're going to want to go get. Their defense is okay. I like Bradley Chubb. I love Pat Surtain II. He's a stud. Justin Simmons as well as a stud. But the division's so strong, and I just like these other teams more. And I just don't see a way that they don't take 4th in the division. I got them getting about 7 wins as well. Next, we're going to jump into a little transition here. We're going to do a draft of football movies. Trey came up with this idea, and it's like the draft, on the last episode, we drafted foods. We each had 5 of them that you want when you're watching football. So we are doing the 5 best football movies, which obviously we're going to have 10 of them, 5 apiece, because we can't take the same one as each other. And we will debate and so on. I believe Trey had the first pick on food, so he said I'm going to be getting the first pick here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, correct.
Number 1, I'm going Friday Night Lights.
I feel like you just took that because you knew I would take it.
You have to. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen the movie in probably 6 years. But how do you not take Friday Night Lights? It is instant classic, top to bottom, the producing, the actors, everything. It is incredible. That is the best football movie ever made. I could argue a second one, but I'm not going to. Because I got this right where I wanted. I see that my opponent over here is flustered in his draft a little.
Well, that I didn't think you would take that. Honestly, I didn't think you would take that. So that and Georgia Tech just kicked the field goal to make it 14-3. So Clemson's not covering the first half spread anymore. So they're going to
That's
need a
pain.
drive here too. No, it's a great pick. It's my favorite football movie. If most of the people that play football, like if you just look at numbers, more people have played high school football than have played college football than have played in the NFL. There's so many people who can relate to that you know it's that movie encapsulate what it's like to play high school football. And again, I played small time high school football in Pennsylvania. That's big time high school football in Texas. So it's a little different, but the feeling of every single game is life or death in terms of playoff and whatnot. It's just a perfect movie,
It is, absolutely.
and it's better than the show. So let's just get that out there. It's better than the TV show's the corniest thing I've ever seen.
I agree 1,000%. So
So
you got no debate for me there.
So with my first pick, Friday Night Lights was my 1-1. I'm gonna have to go with The Longest Yard, 2005.
Oh, dude, I want to. Okay, hold on. This is important. Sandler
Yeah,
in his version or
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds' version?
2005.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's the cast. Is
I'm so sad you
unbelievable.
got that.
Yeah,
So sad.
I'm sad you got Friday Night Lights. I'd have taken Friday Night Lights. Did you not write it down?
What, long yard?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I wrote it down.
What did you think I was gonna pass on it?
I thought you may pass on it. Yeah, I
No,
did. I was hoping I could squeak them.
That cast. I mean, Nelly as Earl Maggot, as Michael
Big
Irvin,
Hick Steve Austin.
Steve
pissed.
Austin, Michael Irvin as Deacon Moss.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's an unbelievable movie. There's so many quote. I mean, in our friend group, we quote that movie all the time.
All the time for caretaker, baby.
Joey Diaz, can of corn. It's
Yeah.
just, it's awesome. The football has big hits.
Cheeseburger Eddie.
I mean, you have Chris Berman calling the game. What movie?
Yeah,
what other
I
movie
mean-
has Chris Berman calling the game? It's
Yeah.
awesome. So I'm glad I'm taking that one. And you can go ahead with your second pick.
2, I'm going to do Remember the Titans. I probably could have took him a little further, but I love that movie a lot. I watch it all the time still with my dad. That's a really good movie that we both like a lot. The acting in it is, I've noticed things as I got older, the acting is kind of in some spots,
Yeah.
but
Well, it's a Disney movie.
I was going to say,
So-
it depicts what I like about a football movie. It has everything. It checks all the boxes. It's fun to watch. If you're trying to get pumped for football and there's no football on, throw that on
Yeah.
and it'll get you pumped and you'll want to watch football even more.
Left side.
So
strong
I got
side,
Remember
baby.
the Titans at 2.
No, I think that's a solid pick. For me, my second pick is going to be The Replacements.
That's a good one.
Yep. It's one of those movies where it's so funny to me. Like there's just so many moments where they might not be laugh out loud funny, but if you know football and you get like some of the instincts that they're talking about, and I mean, who's cooler than Shane Falco? Keanu Reeves
Not a
with
lot
the
of
hair.
people.
When he runs out for like the first practice, he's got his hair flowing in the wind, and like the cheerleaders are. I mean, it's one of the best football movies I've ever seen. Gene Hackman as the coach is perfect. And then the best is when the kicker. My favorite scene in the whole movie is when the head coach had told the assistant coach that they were getting a kicker from England who's a thoroughbred, who was like a legendary soccer player, and this like dude shows up smoking a cigarette. And the assistant coach like, this is the guy you were telling me about? This is the thoroughbred? And he's like, I'm wiry. And his like Scottish accent. It's so funny. But yeah, no. The Replacements is an awesome movie. I guarantee, I mean, some people might not have seen it or know what it is. It's a little bit older. Definitely watch it.
Absolutely. That was on my list as well. What would this be? My third?
This would be
Yeah.
your third pick, yeah.
Third. Okay. With my third pick here, we are Marshall. An awesome movie. And I know it doesn't really it's more so about the tragedy than the
Yeah.
sport itself. But I'm going to count it, and if you disagree, that's okay.
No, it's a football movie. Definitely a football movie.
Matthew McConaughey as Jack Langell and Matthew Fox as Red Dawson. I mean,
It's perfect.
dude, the cast is great. From top to bottom, they did great. You know, the plot and everything, they depicted everything so perfectly. And and it's still a tragedy that I can't believe that happened. I wasn't alive when it did.
It's
Dad wasn't even
ridiculous.
alive when it did.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't born until 73, and I think it happened in 70. But all 75 on board died. 37 of the players, the coach, I mean, everyone died. And that's just unbelievable to think of. And it is, if you've never seen that movie, it is a tearjerker, but I highly recommend watching it.
Oh yeah, that the scene in the locker room where the coach is hitting the guy's shoulder. It's Anthony. What's the guy's name? The actor. It's Anthony something. Find it.
I'm looking.
It's one of those scenes. I'll tell you what the scene, and then he'll give me the
Anthony
name.
Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. He's the guy hurt his shoulder and he's trying to still play through the injury, and because he feels bad for leaving his teammates behind, and McConaughey's slapping him in the arm, and he's starting to cry. He says, "Oh, this is your shoulder. This shoulder's fine," and he's like, "My shoulder's fine." He's trying to grit it through his teeth, but no, that's a great pick. I would have probably picked that next, so I got to give you that one. That was a good pick.
Thank you.
My next pick is also I love football movies that are like period pieces that kind of encapsulate a time period. So, The Express with about Ernie Davis. It's older. About he was at Syracuse. He was following up Jim Brown at Syracuse as the next running back there. I just love this movie. It goes through like he goes through so much. You know, there's like it's not as bad as like 42 in terms of like blatant racism, but like they're playing in West Virginia, and like the head coach is telling them, you know, you cannot score here. If you get the ball and you're about to score, go down.
Yeah,
Because if you score here, they will go crazy. These fans will go nuts. So it's just one of those movies. You please watch it. It has so much history in it, and it's sadly, I mean, I don't want to ruin the ending, but you know, something sad happens at the end. I'm not going to give it away if anyone hasn't seen it, but he goes through so many trials and tribulations. He ends up winning the Heisman, but never plays it down in the NFL, and you can find out why for yourself.
that is a very good pick. With my fourth pick, I'm going to take Varsity Blues.
Okay.
Shout out to Paulie. I know he loves this movie. He always talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
James Van Der Beek and John Voight. I believe I pronounced that correctly. But the story of it is a backup quarterback basically leads a Texas football team after the star quarterback gets injured, and they win all these games with the backup. And like he goes from being the not popular kid to the popular kid in school, and you know, all these types of things. And the movie's just really great. The cast is awesome. It's sneaky awesome though. Like it's not like there's huge big name guys.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting fact, Paul Walker is in this movie. Yeah. I don't know if a lot of people knew that or not. He was very young, but it is a great movie. I think that they did a great job. And something about like Texas high school football in movies, it's just always better, like to me. I don't know why. And I really love that. And there's also what's his name? Is it Billy Bob? Is that his name?
Yeah, Billy Bob.
Billy Bob, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's hilarious. So he's every bit of 400 pounds and his stomach will stick out of a shirt. But yeah, I got that at 4.
No, yeah, that was definitely on my list. So that was a good pick. For this one, I can't believe it's still there. I'm going with another Adam Sandler movie, The Waterboy. It's so funny. It's probably the funniest football movie ever made.
Yeah, I wanted that one to fall to me. I was gonna take it there, didn't.
It's just so perfect in the accent. I mean, you think this guy grew up in like New England area and whatnot, and he has a perfect Louisiana accent. I mean, obviously it's over exaggerated a little bit, but you know, there's like there's comedy, but there's also like big football hits, which even adds to it. So they did like if you think of like a comedy football movie, you might not think there's a lot of on-field stuff, but there's actually a lot of action scenes in it. And no, it's one of those movies where like you don't remember a lot of the cast other than Adam Sandler, but it's still.
Don't forget about Rob Schneider. He'll sneak his
Oh
way
yeah.
into a stands, and that's it.
So yeah, that no, it's the quintessential comedy football combo, and I'm
That
glad I was
is
able to get it in the fourth.
that is a great pick. With my last pick, in our football movies draft, I am taking Little Giants. Maybe not a popular pick there. I wanted Waterboy, if I'm being honest.
I literally, while we were talking about your fourth round pick, I wrote down Little Giants because I just
Oh,
remembered I was going to take it.
Little Giants was awesome as a kid. I loved it so much. I have it on DVD still. I remember my dad got it for me, and I used to watch it with him all the time. And I thought it was just a great, funny, little well put together film. And I mean, it turned out so great. I loved it. Still love the movie. It's a great one. When I have kids one day, if I have kids, I will be showing them that movie as well. But anyone here who hasn't seen Little Giants, because I feel like that one's maybe a little under the radar, depending on where you're at or how you came up, go watch that movie. I guarantee you will like it. It is a very good movie. The cast is
It's Ed O'Neill and Rick Moranis are the two main guys.
Yes, thank you. But I like it's Danny O'Shea or whatever, and it's basically like he lives in like, but not a shadow, but like in the shadow of his brother who won like a Heisman and stuff, and was like the football hero of their town in Ohio or whatnot.
Yep.
And he coaches, Kevin coaches like this local Pee Wee league and stuff. And it's an awesome movie. Please go watch it if you have not. It's so good.
The only thing I don't like about the movie is that the Cowboys end up losing in the end, but
yeah, well,
no spoilers though. I mean, if you haven't seen Little Giants, it's 30 years later, people. What are you doing with your life? Let's see here. Last round, you stole my last round pick. I thought I was definitely going to run away with that. I'm stuck between a couple, but I think I'm going to go with a movie that's probably not as well known, but I hope people go watch it. It's a movie that my freshman camp at Clarion, we watched it as a team for movie night. It's funny, but unintentionally funny. And it really highlights, I think it's probably the best college football movie because it really highlights what it's like to play football in college. It's called The Program with James Caan and Omar Epps are like probably the two biggest names from it. James Caan's like this, he's a coach who's on his way out if he doesn't have a winning season. Omar Epps is like a rookie running back or a freshman running back. And it's so funny because the coach makes him carry a football around campus. So like every shot he's in, he's carrying a football. When he's in practice, he's carrying a football where he carries it. So the entire movie he has a football on him. It's just one of those movies. I think it's the best reputation of what it's like to play football in college. It's such a grind. There's a guy who, he puts on about 40 pounds in the off season, and they kind of allude to it's steroids and how it's affecting his other things. It's a serious movie in a lot of ways. I said it's unintentionally funny, but it's a great movie and it's definitely worth a watch. Like I said, I would have rather have gotten Little Giants there and run it up with two comedy movies, but I'm happy with the program. I'm happy with my draft. I'll go with my wrap up first. I had The Longest Yard, The Replacements, The Express, The Waterboy, and The Program. A lot of those.
I will wrap mine up as well. I had Friday Night Lights, Remember the Titans, We Are Marshall, Varsity Blues, and Little Giants. And all 10 of these movies, I did not see the last one that Trey said, if I'm being honest. That's the only one I haven't seen. But I'll take his word on it because he drafted well. I would recommend going and watching all of these if you guys haven't. They're probably, including the last one, all of them are great. So can't go wrong with any of them. Pissed I didn't get a Sandler, though.
The only two that were in my top 10 that didn't make were The Blind Side and Rudy.
Rudy I had as well, but I didn't.
Rudy was my number 10. It's fine movie. I think it just gets a little too montage heavy for me. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a solid movie. He was offsides though, and I don't like Notre Dame, so those are
I
two
don't
things.
like Notre Dame either.
But
So
Jon Favreau and Jon Favreau is great in the movie, and who's the tall guy? Vince Vaughn is also in it. They're both great. So
Vince Vaughn is a great actor as well.
all right, we're back with our NFL award predictions, and we're going to start off with Offensive Rookie of the Year. Hunter, you want to give us yours?
Yeah, my offensive rookie of the year is going to be Romeo Dubes from the Green Bay Packers. I'm just expecting tremendous things from him. Um, uh, when you have Rodgers at the helm and you're such a great route runner like he is, and not to mention the lack of receivers that they may have, I don't know what to expect in Lazard. Cobb's a little old, and Watson's injured. I mean, I just think the opportunity's there for him to seize it, and I think he's going to.
No, yeah, I like that pick. For mine, I'm taking Treylon Burks in Tennessee. I just feel like he's a guy who's going to get a lot of touches in that offense. After Henry, I think he'll probably be number 2 in terms of touches. He's a guy who did a lot of things at Arkansas, touched the ball in a lot of different ways. I think, you know, the Titans can take something from that and use him in more creative ways.
Yep.
So we're going to move on to Defensive Rookie of the Year. Hunter, if you want to go first.
This one kills me, but I think it's going to be Kyle Hamilton in Baltimore. I think
Mhm.
that he just got placed into a perfect system with a perfect build and a perfect safety archetype that you would want. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's what, 6'3" or 6'4", and he's a monster. He's a beast. They just cut Tony Jefferson, so you know that job's his. And the defense has always had great safeties. I don't see this being anything different. I think that he's going to step right in and be elite right away. Unfortunately, it is Kyle Hamilton for me, and I don't know how close it really is.
For me, it is Aiden Hudson in Detroit. Dude's going to step in right away, be the best pass rusher on his own team. He's going to have to deal with the likes of David Bakhtiari 2 times a year. The Vikings have a couple good tackles, but I think he is a guy who plays with such a motor. He's going to get like probably 4 or 5 sacks just through pure effort, where a quarterback's holding the ball, 2 or 3 seconds longer than he should, and Hutchinson runs him down.
Yeah,
I also have a dark horse. This might be a little bit of a homer, but Sam Williams is a guy to keep your eye out. He was a second-round pick for Dallas. He is a freak. He is Micah Parsons athletically, not skill wise, but athletically, he's Micah Parsons. Just the same build, same everything. Just needs to refine that talent. If he can be in the starting mix by week 3, he could have a backside shot at this.
I like it. We will move on to the defensive player of the year.
I will go first, and I have to go Micah Parsons. I have to.
I understand.
From everything I've been hearing from him out of camp, he is just at a different level than he was last year. And he was top 3 DPOY last year, definitely the runaway D Roy. So Parsons, he's going to terrorize people. He's going to play all over the field. That's why I think he has more value than a Watt or a Myles Garrett. He is going to he's going to do it all for that Dallas defense.
Yeah. I also have Micah Parsons. Dude's a freak. I haven't seen anything really like him. He can drop into coverage and keep up with your fastest receiver, or he can blow by your tackle with ease and get to the quarterback and get a sack like it's nothing. The dude's motor's unstoppable. I feel almost bad saying this to Aaron Donald, but like I look at this guy and think like, if it's not now, it's soon. But he's coming for the best defensive player league like
Oh
soon.
yeah, oh yeah.
He's there already. So,
and I like that pick. Obviously, I took the same pick, but I hope it comes to fruition because I think Dallas is going to need it as a team.
Yeah, we will go to the offensive player of the year now.
I will take Trey Lance, quarterback, San Francisco. He's in a great situation with the run game out there. He's just the only question mark for me with this pick is can the 3-4 receivers step up and help him have a better passing game.
I like that pick as well. I'm going to go with my Triple Crown winner, Justin Jefferson. If he gets the Triple Crown, I have a hard time seeing him not get the Offensive Player of the Year. So I will take Justin Jefferson. Dude's elite. And for anyone out there that thinks Jamar Chase is better than Justin Jefferson, you're smoking drugs. I'm just telling you that now. All I'm saying, give Justin Jefferson Joe Burrow. Look out. Look out. Look out. It will not
I
be
agree.
close. Look out.
And then next for comeback player of the year, Hunter, who do you have?
I have Michael Thomas.
Okay.
From what I've been seeing at camp, he's relatively healthy. I know he just tweaked his hamstring again like 2 weeks ago, but they said it's nothing to be concerned about. He should be ready for week 1. He looks great. It looks like he never missed a step, is a quote I saw. I just think that in that system with all the weapons they have, and Jameis, if you remember when Jameis had Mike Evans, he just force fed Mike Evans, and like they were connected. They might have lost, and he might have thrown 6 picks, but Mike Evans got his, and I think it's going to be kind of the same thing with Michael Thomas. So I'm going to go Michael Thomas with that one.
For me, I'm taking a wide receiver as well. I'm taking Allen Robinson in the Rams. It's been a rough couple of years for Allen Robinson in Chicago. I think it's time for him to have a good quarterback. I think he's going to explode in this offense. People are going to give special coverage to Cooper Kupp. So I think he'll really be able to thrive. And I think if he can have his success that he had early with, Jacksonville and then in Chicago, I think if he can maintain his athleticism and he doesn't have too far off a cliff getting older now, I think he'll be right there at the end for comeback player of the year. Coach of the year, I have Josh McDaniels of Las Vegas. I think he is ready now, finally, to step out on his own. I think he comes from a great coaching tree with Belichick. He has a great offensive mind. We know that. He's worked with the best in the game, and Brady, he's ready for this. It's Josh McDaniels.
My coach of the year is Brandon Staley, LA Chargers. It's just the award tends to go to a team with high success. Not that the Raiders won't have high success. We both think that they will. But I have the Chargers winning 13 games this year. When I broke down their schedule and looked at it, I got them going 14-4 or maybe 14-3. I mean, I had them winning a lot of games. And I have them splitting with Vegas. I know that's one of their 3 or 4 losses right there. But Staley's in a position really to get carried to an award, not necessarily that he deserves. And if the Chargers do suck this year, there's no one to blame but him. So I'm going to put my chips in on him and say that he's going to get the award.
I like it. And let's wrap it up with the biggest one of them all. Hunter, who is your most valuable player of the NFL?
My most valuable player in the 2022-2023 NFL season is Justin Herbert. I think he's going to throw for something of the sorts of 4,800 yards, 45 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and I think he's going to have about a 73% completion percentage. Dude, unreal. I just think that there's something there. Like Burrow, like you'll understand this. Burrow is more Brady. Herbert is more Rodgers. Does that make sense?
Yep, I see
it. Burrow's got that thing up here that just makes him different. And Herbert just has the athletic, thing you've never seen before, kind of like Patrick Mahomes. And I just think that he's going to dominate this year. I love Herbert, and I'm riding with the LA quarterback to get it done.
For my MVP, I talked about this guy earlier. I think he's going to be awesome. I think this is his time to push all the chips to the table, because he is done after this year. I have Tom Edward Patrick Brady.
No,
taking home
not
the
Skip Bayless intro too.
This is it. For year 45, his wife's pissed at him for coming back out of retirement. He knows if he wants to salvage things, the reason he's back is to win another Super Bowl. He's addicted to winning Super Bowls. He is going to push all his chips in the little table. He's going to work his butt off for 5 months to try to win this Super Bowl. He said, I know in his mind, he's saying this is it. Gronk's not so far, it hasn't come back with him yet. This is his last dance. This is the last dance. People who are watching football this fall, soak in Tom Brady, because I don't think he's coming back after this year. I have him going off in every single game. He is going to win MVP. That's our NFL award predictions.
Next, we're going to jump to playoff teams and how this format's going to go. is we're going to give our 1 through 4 seeds. I'll give mine, Trey his, and then we will talk wild cards for each conference and so on and so forth. So, Trey, would you like to kick it off with the AFC?
Sure. My top seed in the AFC are the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
My second seed is the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
My third seed are the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
And the 4 seed is the Los Angeles Chargers. I think those are all 4 teams where they're going to win a lot of games. It's going to be close. It could be in any order, but I think at the end of the year, those will be the 4.
Wait a minute.
Bills, Colts, Bengals, Chargers.
Okay. Sorry. My brain just died. I was so confused. Okay. So my 4 are 1, I got the LA Chargers. 2, I got Buffalo. 3, I have the Ravens. 4, I have Indianapolis.
Okay.
Chargers got them going 13-4. Bills just a game behind, 12-5. Ravens, I think 11-6 is going to win the division. It's just always gritty in the AFC North. Teams beat you when they probably shouldn't, and that will be the case in that division with maybe Cincinnati or maybe Pittsburgh gets a win here or there. Who knows? And then the Colts, I like them, but they're still missing pieces. I want to see what Matt Ryan can do at 37, 38 years old first. So I have them at 4.
I like it. I think we're pretty close on there.
Yeah.
And then my wild card teams in the 5th slot, I have the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yep.
In the 6th spot, I have the Tennessee Titans. And in the 7th spot, the Baltimore Ravens.
I like it. In my 5th spot, I have Cincinnati. In my 6th spot, I have the Raiders. And in my 7th spot, I have the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
I think the Dolphins will squeak in and get decimated, may I add. They are going to get blasted heading to Buffalo. So
okay. And then why don't we, while we're on the AFC, let's hit our AFC title game prediction then. Why don't you go ahead first?
Coming out of the AFC for me, I have the LA Chargers. People watching this are going to see a trend and just say, Jesus Christ, guy, what the fuck?
I knew it was coming, and I still love it.
I'm all in on them. I have a $50 bet on them to come out of the AFC right now. So I'm all in on the Chargers. They're just top to bottom, roster-wise, on paper, the best in football in my book. So I'm going to just go solely off of that. I know on paper doesn't always matter, but yeah, I got the Chargers.
For my AFC title game, it does not include the Chargers. It includes Buffalo hosting the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Raiders steal one. The Raiders go in and beat an upset Buffalo. It's Buffalo. They're not going to win a Super Bowl. Get your minds right, people. The 4 falls of Buffalo. They don't win in clutch time. Vegas goes in with the number 1 offense. It's going to be different because the only thing I'm worried about in that game is weather. It just needs to be an unusually warm day in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Vegas, I'm picking Vegas. I'm riding all the way. You're riding with your Chargers.
I'm going with the Chargers. I should say who I have them playing. I have them playing Buffalo as well.
Yeah.
I got Buffalo coming to LA and getting steamrolled also.
Okay.
Not literally scoreboard wise, but they're losing as well.
And then
let's jump to the NFC here.
Yep.
Trey, you want to start it off again?
Sure. Number 1 seed, Tampa Bay. I already told you guys Tom Brady's going to be on demon time. That defense is something scary. Green Bay, Rodgers, I don't think they're going to take too far off losing. They're not going to be too far off losing Devontae Adams, but so they'll be the 2 seed. I got San Francisco in at the 3 seed, and the Eagles winning the East and being the 4 seed.
My top 4, I have San Francisco at 1. I have the Packers at 2, the Bucks at 3, the Eagles at 4.
Okay, so same.
I love the Bucks this year as well. Something about the Saints, though, they cannot beat New Orleans. It doesn't matter if it's in Tampa or in New Orleans; they struggle to beat them.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to hold them from jumping up into that 2 or 1 spot for me. Give me your wild cards.
5, I have the Los Angeles Rams.
Yep.
6, I have the Dallas Cowboys. And 7, Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions.
Oh boy.
I said that was my bold prediction. I think they'll make it. I like their schedule. It's not a hard schedule. I think if they win 10 games, they have a even if they win 9, I think they have a solid shot at that 7 spot.
Yeah. My 5 spot, I have the Rams as well. My 6 spot, I have the Saints. And my 7 spot, I have the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
So Dallas would be heading to Green Bay.
They would lose by 70.
The
Go ahead.
Saints, the Saints would head to Tampa, which anyone's got to like that game if you like football. And the Rams would head to Philadelphia, which
Okay.
would also be interesting.
And for your NFC title game prediction,
So I have it down here, but I'm hesitant. Packers for sure. And I'm gonna say the Bucks, which is what I have here. I'm not gonna change it, go off of like script or anything. Packers, Bucks, in Lambeau, Brady, Rogers. What a better time if it's Brady's last, dance, as you said. What better way would I want it than those two to go at it in an NFC title game? So yeah, I have Packers, Bucks. I have the Packers winning that game.
Okay.
Something of the sorts, 31-28, somewhere in that vicinity. I think that for some reason, though, the offense in Green Bay, maybe you could argue, got worse with the subtraction of Valdez, Scantling, and Adams. I think they're going to be a better team this year than they were in years prior.
I like it. For mine, I have the 49ers beating the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, if they see the 49ers, their season's over. They can't beat them. Aaron Rodgers cannot beat the 49ers in the playoffs.
They have struggled to beat them.
I have San Francisco going to number 1 seed Tampa. Tampa rolls.
Yep.
The Tampa's run defense is so good, it falls right into the mouth of what San Francisco is trying to do. They're trying to run the ball just too good in the middle with Vita Vea and Akeem Hicks.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay rolls probably by 17 points in that one. Their offense lights it up against that questionable San Francisco secondary. So hey, we're down to the big one. We are down to the big game. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing the Las Vegas Raiders, and you have the
LA Chargers playing the Green Bay Packers.
All right, why don't you hit us with it? Who's bringing home the Lombardi for you?
This one's going to slightly kill me, because I love me some Aaron Rodgers. I have Justin Herbert and company getting a Super Bowl this year.
Wow.
Just listen, when you put teams together, if the coaching's there, that's what it's going to come down to, is this coach. If it's there and Herbert's healthy and they don't lose a bunch of guys, there's no reason they shouldn't.
Yep.
Do I wish that outcome? No, I'd rather see Rodgers win, I think. But I got the Chargers winning something like 35-24.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have Las Vegas making that miracle run to the Super Bowl, but it's over once they get there. They're happy to be there. They made a good run. Tampa Bay again rolls. Brady, he goes out on top.
He gets S.
Yeah, he gets number 8. He goes out. Giselle finally comes back. They hug on the field. He's up on the stage. I don't even know who has a Super Bowl, but let's just say Mike Tirico hands him the mic. He says, "This is it. I'm done. I'm going off to watch my kids play youth football. I'm done with this." So I got Tampa rolling probably like 38-24 in the Super Bowl. Brady, I mean, if you ever believe football scripted and that happens.
I was just going to say, man, if there's ever a reason for me to believe it, I could see it.
So that is it. I have Tampa. You have the
LA Chargers.
I would love to see that one too. That wouldn't be a bad game. I'd be interesting to see if they both make it. We could revisit that. So
yeah.
I just want to thank everyone for watching. I know these episodes, the college football one and this one were pretty long, but we appreciate everyone watching, and our content moving forward is probably going to be shortened down, just more more picks and breakdowns of matchups moving forward.
Absolutely.
Season. So
we just wanted to give you guys some introductions on some things, give some predictions, get some stuff out of the way. So episodes will be cut.
Thank you guys. We'll see you down the line.
Thank you.